Good morning, my Teaserking family. How's everybody out there? I am much better, thank God. It's been a tough Christmas to everybody, which is, I guess, Sunday. I'm losing track of days. Um, just some interesting news. Uh, just some interesting news on like money and gold and everything. It looks like a lot of countries are bailing on the US dollar. It's probably going to crash, but maybe it's going to take a little bit of time. Not all the banks are going to crash, as you see on some of these YouTubes where they're saying, oh, the banks are going to crash. They're probably not. Not sure what they'll do with the currency, but it probably won't happen. I don't know what that noise was. So what you want to understand is your fiat currency is not really safe, but you're probably not going to get sudden the bank saying, "Oh, wait, you have no money in the bank." That probably won't happen. I don't know what noise this is. Excuse me. But some stupid Skype thing. Anyway, just keep that in mind that probably what will happen, it'll come out the new dollar, but you definitely want to be in gold and silver, not into you probably want to be in gold and silver, not in the fiat dollars. Don't want to be there. Excuse me, what the fuck? My computer's really slow right now. Okay. And somebody's trying to Skype me who I have no idea. You got all these little bullshit Skype things that are scams, and that's what that was. Anyway, so what y'all do is get gold and silver. Your bank account probably won't be, and again, in America is different than in Brazil or in certain other countries. Keep that in mind. Just understand most of the countries are going away from U.S. dollars. So keep that in mind that that's what's happening. What else? So buy your gold and silver. I bought an ounce of gold yesterday for myself for Christmas, and 20 ounces of silver. So the silver was $28 for the buffalo heads, not the eagles, which were 35. No difference. You're buying silver. You're buying an ounce. And the gold was 18. No, it was 1922 for a maple leaf. It was 1982 for a U.S. And there's no reason. There's no difference. You're buying the ounce of gold. As long as it's an ounce of gold, gold's worth so much, an ounce is worth so much, then that's all you care about. So I bought a maple leaf. And, as long as it says 9999 and 1 ounce pure, and then that's all. Anyway, he had some sovereigns, like in the James Bond movie, where James Bond in From Russia with Love has the 5 gold sovereigns in his briefcase. And you're like, what the hell is a sovereigns? Well, I found out my guy had it. They're like 1912s, and he had 4 or 5 of them. So I says, what is it? He says, well, it's almost like a quarter ounce. But when I looked at it, there was nothing on it that said it was gold. I says, well, if I want to sell it, how do I prove it's gold? I can't. So I can't buy it because it doesn't say an ounce of gold or a quarter ounce of gold or anything like that. So therefore, I let it go. It would have been nice to have if it would have said quarter ounce. It's probably like one of these rare old gold pieces that are 1902 Liberty Head dollars that are actually made of gold, like back then. But again, you need to know they're actually gold. And if you don't know they're actually gold, who's going to buy it from you? I can't sell you that. You're going to say, Howard, well, is it really gold? So I don't know. It is, but I can't prove it. So therefore, it's not worth the the thing. Anyway, so that's what's happening there. The market will crash. Again, the Keynesians think we can just print, and the MMT, which are Keynesians, modern monetary theory, think you can just keep printing money. It won't matter. And as the Austrians, we know that you can't keep printing money. It will matter, and it'll eventually explode to zero, which is what's happening. All these other currencies are leaving, going to the BRICS, and leaving the West, the US, Canada, and England all fucked up. So watch what happens to the euro, watch what happens to the yen, watch what happens to the British pound. That'll give you an indication of what's happening. Of course, the time frame that the governments are fighting to keep this from happening, but can only fight so long. Then I heard an interesting note on the reset. The reset's actually the market, which for the first time I heard a good explanation from my guy, Alistair McLeod. So he says the reset isn't something happening. It's the market. Right now, everything's suppressed by the governments, right? They don't want the market. They don't want gold at market prices because then it would be $50,000, $60,000 an ounce, and silver would be $2,000, $3,000, and nobody would want the dollar anymore. So to keep J.P. Morgan printing dollars, they go and they make up this COMEX and keep the price down. Well, the reset is, okay, it's going to go to physical supply and demand, not manipulated by COMEX. That finally made sense what the reset is. Everybody hears reset and they don't know what it is. So how you reset? So that finally makes sense. It's going to be the mark to physical when everything blows up. So everybody says when. There's no answer. I was talking to a guy at the gold store yesterday. Well, why is this going to be different? It's been low for years. And I go, because of the BRICS countries, China, Russia, India, wanting gold to go up because they're all broke. Go to the physical supply demand line, which, as I pointed out, is way up here with gold down here. So it'll be 40, 50,000 for gold. No magic button, and they're going to just say, oh, now the prices are this. It's going to be the market dictating. I feel a whole lot better because that's what we want, is the market to tell us the gold and silver price. To this, we will go from there. A quick look at the bowls. So let me go through the line. So we've had the Eastern Michigan San Jose State game. Toledo beats Liberty. Western Kentucky beats South Alabama yesterday. So let's get to what's remaining here. So let's go through the college lines. Now I'm just going to go through this week. So we've got Baylor 3.5, 43.5. Now Baylor was 6.5. So I don't know what drove it down. I keep looking at injury. Don't see any. I keep looking at the guy. I'm not worried about the quarterback transferring. So what did somebody skip for the NFL draft? But I don't see that. I don't see any injuries. So it's very confusing why Baylor. Let's go to covers. So why did Baylor drop? Baylor should win this game without much problem. Well, Air Force is a good team. What do we have here? We have a B team in Baylor. We're kind of an over defense against an A team Air Force. So maybe just people liking the Air Force and betting them are causing this, because I don't really see anything. Now, the thing that pisses me off is covers should get into transfer players or guys sitting out. Air Force, I got a wide receiver out. In Baylor, I've got a wide receiver questionable, and the tight end was out in October, so was a running back. To me, the old injuries don't mean anything because they played games since and they still look good. So if Baylor looks good with these injuries, I'm not worried about them. Replace them. So just G Holmes. So I'm not getting anything here that's telling me anything but Air Force betting. So Baylor 3.5, 43.5. I probably like the game over. I kind of like Baylor. It's better, but okay, let's say Air Force. Baylor's going to score, and they don't have that great defense. I like over 37.5. I think is really small here. So let's go over 37.5. Then tomorrow we got Lou Lafayette and Houston. Excuse me. Let's just do the lines at first. So Lou Lafayette, Houston. We got Houston minus 7.5, up from 6.5. Now that's okay. And 56.5 hasn't changed. So Houston, maybe some guy on Lou Lafayette transferred, but this is the quarterback, but I haven't seen. Houston, we know, is a strong over team. Lou Lafayette has a pretty decent defense, but it's a Sun Belt defense. I like Houston here, I think. 1.5. Over under 56.5. You gotta like Houston over because they score a ton and they don't really have much of a defense. So if Lou Lafayette can generate anything, you'll get a 50 because you're going to get 35 from Houston. So you either bet Houston minus the one or you take the over. I don't think Lou Lafayette has the offense, so I think Houston's a pretty good play there. Wake in Missouri, Wake minus 1.5, 58.5, down from 60. Missouri has a decent defense. We like Wake with Hartman. Getting 4.5 seems like the play here. No matter what Missouri does, you still got Hartman. He'll keep you in the game. He should win the game for you. Here's where you bet the guy. Now, I haven't seen Hartman. He's not going to transfer, and he's apparently not sitting out. You would have saw the line go from 1.5 to 3.5. It's been 1.5 the whole time, so therefore, I haven't seen Hartman on the. I'm gonna not get hurt for the pros. So look for him to showcase. So I like Wake a lot here. Middle Tennessee, San Diego State. We're going to go to the 26th, which is, I think, Sunday. San Diego State is 6.5 and 49.5 hasn't moved. San Diego State a good defensive team. Tennessee more of a passing offensive team. 5 because I think it's just the strong defense, as we've seen countless times, will beat the strong offense. And then the last game, this will be our freebie. Bowling Green, New Mexico State. Bowling Green 3.5, 48.5, up from 47.5. New Mexico State's quarterback's been explosive the last 3 games. They switched. He looks great. Bowling Green's not very good. They're a W team with an over defense. Both teams are over defenses. I absolutely love New Mexico State getting 9.5 here. So that's our free play. Take New Mexico State. And I'll give you a free pro play if I haven't already. Take New Mexico State, getting 9.5. They should win the game outright. They've been explosive, scoring a ton. Bowling Green really, I don't know why they're favored. New Mexico State started 1.5, I think. That was the first line I saw. Then it went to Bowling Green, 3.5, and that's where it stopped. Absolutely like New Mexico State. And there's no way this quarterback's – and then I just don't see him transferring. He's finally got the starting job. Why would he leave it? So that's what we have. So those are your games. Baylor 3.5, 43.5. Houston 7.5, 56.5. Wake 1.5, 58.5. San Diego State 6.5. Bowling Green 3.5, 47.5. And the free plays New Mexico State playing Bowling Green, getting 9.5. Absolutely free play. I've got 4 locks going next week so far. We could easily have more. Waiting on Rising for Utah just to make sure. Waiting on Thompson Robinson for UCLA just to make sure. Pitt Slovis is out anyway, so even if UCLA has to go to their backup quarterback, which he's been practicing, so I'm waiting to hear, but I'm not hearing. The line dropped from here. Let's see. UCLA 3.5, 54.5. Clemson 5.5. The fucking Iowa game's 31.5 over under. Alabama still 5.5. Michigan 7.5. Georgia 6.5. USC 2.5. And Utah 2.5. So that's what we got next week. But we'll get into those next week. If you want to buy the bowl package, it's $125. Those are already posted, most of the key plays for next week. If you want those, you can get them now. I've already bet most of them. Again, I got 4 locks, and depending on UCLA and Utah, could have 6 locks if they are normal. And Oak State's just a mess. Spencer Sanders is left, and Wisconsin sucks. So they dropped the over from 51 to 43, and I don't think they can get there. Anyway, because of the way this bowl is, that's why I recommend buying the bowl pack. I've already posted those games, and you probably want to get these lines in already. But anyway, they are posted. So let's go to the NFL, and we first look, and there's a big line movement in the Jets game. The Jets are now a 1.5-point favorite. I've already bet them as a 1.5-point dog. So if you buy my picks, you've waited too long, and I love the Jets as a home dog. This is why I bet early. I am a professional, so when I see the line I want and I see what I want, I don't need to wait till, well, in this case, tonight? Over under 37.5. I know Trevor Lawrence with the toe injury. Let's see if anything has changed with Trevor Lawrence. I looked earlier. I don't think he's out, but he's going to play with the toe. He sucks anyway, just these 2-yard passes. He's like how Tagliabue has been with these little passes. Yeah, I was limited in practice on Wednesday, questionable with the toe. So he will play. Anybody questionable, especially it's a playoff game. So it's a playoff game, so I like the dog, especially a home dog. So I like the Jets getting 7.5. I've already bet it. Now it's moved to 1.5. So do I still like them plus 4.5? Probably. Jacksonville is not a good road team. They're a better home team. They're a good dog, though. So they might be a better bet. Had the game started I have the Jets -3. Had the game -3, I might have taken Jack at 9. But they're a whole different animal at home than on the road. Like they got killed by the Lions in Detroit. They beat Baltimore and they beat Dallas at home. So, which team shows up? Well, they're not going to like the cold weather in New York, I guarantee it. It'll be a tough game for them. And Wilson, I don't know what's wrong with that guy. He was so much better at BYU. He looks bad, but then he makes some good plays. They got some good receivers, and they got a great defense. I think you got to play the defense here. Maybe if you don't like to take the Jets plus 4.5, you go under in the game with the 7.5. Go under 43.5. I think would be probably a prudent play. Just don't see that many points. I think Travis Etienne is out. So Lawrence, you ain't relying on that guy. He can't run with a bad toe, so look out. All right, so that's tonight's game. Let's just quickly go through the line. Minnesota 3.5. Where the hell is Minnesota 3.5? 47.5. Line hasn't moved. Cleveland 2.5. 32.5. Moved from 3, and then went up from 31.5 to 32.5. Now, apparently, there's a heavy wind off the lake. That's why this over under is so low. I don't know why it would go up. Chubb is injured. I don't know. I assume he'll play. How healthy? My thought would be take New Orleans, not stick around with the under at 32.5. Too low. Detroit 2.5, 43.5. I like Carolina here getting as a home dog and the over at 43.5. Now everybody's overreacting to the weather. Like cold weather doesn't mean anything. Snow does not mean anything. The only thing that means is wind, because I can't throw in the wind and the defense can play accordingly. So keep that in mind. All right. The Ice Bowl in Green Bay, 1967, which I believe I watched. I have a faint memory of it. Final score, 21-17 Green Bay. Star sneaks it in. Couple of long passes here or there, 14-0 Green Bay, 17-14 Dallas. So they scored 38 points in the game. It was freezing, but you didn't really have the wind. So Green Bay had a hell of a defense at that time. They were the defensive team. They're the Steelers. And then Dallas had a decent defense. It was mostly an offensive team. That's why Dallas and Oakland didn't win much back then. They didn't have defense. They didn't really have running. They never had good running attacks, either team. It was more of a passing offense, and we know passing offenses don't work. So in this case, is Carolina going to get some freezing weather? I don't know. Over-unders moved down 1 from 4.5. Again, Detroit as a road favorite. We saw it last week against the Jets. They're not – Detroit is not a team that's going to go on the road and blow you out. It's just not going to happen. Not against – a team going for the playoffs like Carolina. Carolina needs it. They can still keep up with Tampa Bay. Pittsburgh beat them 24-17 last week. Maybe the same thing happens this week, but again, they only lost by 7, and losing to Pittsburgh is kind of surprising. Carolina, not a very good team, but neither is Detroit. Okay, Detroit, they're winning, but they're winning a lot of at-home scoring. Beating Minnesota, kind of a surprise, but okay. Again, at home in the nice warm 70-degree dome. And they beat Buffalo again at home. Well, they lost to Buffalo. Buffalo's really not playing that well, but okay, let's give Detroit credit. And then last week they go at the Jets and kind of get a lucky break on 4th down. Early in the game, they go for it and don't make it. They get lucky. The Jets don't have any normal plays to get out of their end zone. And then the guy returns the punt for a touchdown. Well, that's a fluke. And then Detroit never really did much till near the end. And then it was a 4th and 1, and they ran my Dave Casper play and got a touchdown. Funny how I saw 4 or 5 Dave Casper plays yesterday. So somebody's listening to me. It's clear. I hear a lot of stuff that I say out on the radio, so I guess somebody's listening. Just give me credit, fellas. I want my money. So he hits the tight end on a crossing pattern on 4th and 1 at the 40. He shouldn't have scored a touchdown on it. The Jets blew coverage because they're not looking for the tight end to cross because it's Dave Casper, who was always wide open. So the Lions get the win kind of on a fluke. Good play. But again, they win by 3. So that was against the Jets. Carolina's got a little better offense, but not really. I don't like Darnold. I don't even know who their coach is. Their defense, they're playing okay. Is Detroit better than them? If the game was in Detroit, I probably wouldn't take the dog here. But again, making Detroit a 2.5-point favorite, you got to be kidding me. Um, I also like the 43.5 to 37.5. That's a 20-17. And with Detroit scores a lot and their weak defense, this should probably get over, I would imagine. But Carolina not the strongest, but they gave up 24 to Pitt. They played Pitt at 41. I think this is a similar game. And again, all you need is 37.5, which seems low. Is the weather going to get to North Carolina? It might make it cold, but it's football. So I'm not worried about that. We'll talk about weather in a minute. Cincinnati 41.5 over New England. Line moved from 3.5 for some reason. I don't know why anybody would be betting New England. Joe Burrow, the hottest quarterback. Cincinnati, the hottest team. They're going for the 1 seed. New England shows nothing to stop this team. Over under 41. I do like the game over, but it's mostly Cincinnati. Max Jones sucks. And the Cincinnati defense is just shut down, so I don't really see New England scoring much here. I really like Cincy plus the 3 to get the W here. Cold weather, maybe a little. Not going to stop Cincinnati. They're in Ohio. They're used to cold weather. I'm not as long as it's a cold weather team. I'm not that concerned of the cold weather. I'm more concerned if it's hugely windy. So we will see. It's supposed to blow through here like tonight. I'm in Detroit, but is it going to still be here Saturday afternoon? If it's cold wind, it's going to blow in and blow out. It's just going to blow. It's a wind. So we will see. I don't know, but even if it is, I definitely like Cincinnati in 3 to win the game, even with the wind. I'm not that they have much better weapons and much better coaching than New England does. All right, Buffalo, Chicago. Buffalo is 8.5 and over under 40.5. I like the game over. Chicago with Fields scores. Did with Philly, 25-20 or 45. I think against Buffalo, it's a very similar game. I don't think Buffalo's defense is going to stop Fields. The cold weather, you got Buffalo and Chicago, 2 cold weather teams. I don't think it stops it. If it's snow, look what Buffalo did when it started snowing last week against Miami. It was not a big deal. Now, both defenses are the same. Miami and Chicago, sieves. I can't imagine Buffalo not scoring 30. Fields will get his little runs and stuff. Perfect for cold weather. It doesn't matter, right? He's Fields. If he's going to run, you're not passing, so therefore the wind doesn't bother you at all. A good running team doesn't care about the wind. So Buffalo, they'll run Allen. They'll throw some passes. He plays in Buffalo. He's used to it. So I really like this game over 40.5 to 34.5. It looks like it's already been there, anticipating the cold weather because it hasn't moved. And so 34.5 is just so low. Just go Buffalo over. The Bear Fields will give you 14. Buffalo gives you 20s, 34 right there. And that's probably a halftime score. I don't see this 6-0. You're not 6-0 Buffalo, Chicago, right? It's not going to be like that unless these idiots keep, it's 4th and 1 at the 5. We're supposed to go for it. And a lot of turnovers. So I look for this game over easy, very easy. Houston, Tennessee 3.5, 35.5. Where are you? This is down from 5.5. So the question is why? And 37.5 down to 35.5. I assume this is a weather issue. Let's take a look. Actually, the quarterback's out, I believe, for Tennessee. Not that matters. Tannehill sucks anyway, so let's see. Tannehill's out with an ankle. That's why the line dropped. That's why the over-under dropped. Taylor Lewan, the tackle, he's been out since September. Derrick Henry did not practice on Wednesday, non-injury related. I don't know what the fuck that means. I'm sure he'll be playing. It's a playoff game. So that's your other thing to watch for. Is Henry playing? If we look at Houston, injuries. They have anybody worth mentioning? Brandon Cooks probable is a wide receiver. I don't know. Is he the guy from the Rams? Derek Rivers. They're so bad. You look at these guys and you're like, who are they? Derek Stingley, LSU, cornerback is out with the hamstring. So basically, you've got Tannehill out, and I can't remember their backup, but I don't think he's too bad. Oh, no, Malik Willis. Yeah, he is pretty bad. So Malik Willis can't throw a pass 10 yards accurately, and he'll run a little bit. And the question is Henry playing? Against Houston, who showed a lot against KC and a lot against Dallas, I think this is a very live dog here. So it's up to will Henry play? We know Tannehill's out. We know we got Malik Willis, who's just going to hand the ball to Henry every time. It's going to make it an interesting game because Willis sucks. I think I like Houston here. Over-under went down to 35.5. I don't think it's the cold weather. I think it's just Tennessee doesn't have any players. They'll play good defensively. Yeah, maybe it's an under because Tennessee's not going to generate any points. But I think Houston at 9.5. I mean, they just played KC and Dallas real strong. I don't know what else you need. Now, yes, they don't have a lot of wins, but we don't care about the wins. We're looking at 9.5 points. So we will see. But a better fish to fry than this game. Seattle KC. KC minus now up to 10.5 because Lockett, I think, is out or doubtful. Over under 48.5. I can't lay 10 against Seattle. They're explosive team. Walker's playing. Whatchamacallit's playing. Metcalf. Geno Smith's playing. Coach Pete's playing. So as far as I can see, Seattle's pretty live here. KC has no defense, which gets me to my over. I'm not seeing this total move from the weather. So it's 48.5. It's still 48.5. I think this is a automatic over. Mahomes, lighten it up for 30 points against Seattle, and Seattle lighten it up for 20 points is a 50. We got 48 minus 6 is 42, 24-20. Okay, let's go back to the beginning. Seattle's at Kansas City. What do you think the score is going to be? You think it's going to be higher than 24-20? Hell yes. I doubt KC doesn't get to 30, and I doubt Seattle doesn't get in the 20s. KC has no defense. There's no way they're going to shut down Geno Smith and the boys. Yeah, Lockett's out. They got other good receivers. So I'm not worried about Seattle scoring. They can't stop the win, and Kansas City can't stop the win. This is a beautiful over. So your question is, well, it's cold. And my answer is, as long as it ain't windy, it's okay. Yes, it'll be cold. How much does that affect Mahomes and Geno Smith and Coach Pete? Are they going to just run because it's cold? Is it going to be very windy? That's the key to this. How much wind is the cold bringing? And usually when it's cold, not a lot of wind. It's too cold for wind. The Ice Bowl, 1967, it was 16 below. There was no wind. Wind wasn't an issue in the game. I don't think with Mahomes, wind will be an issue. And Geno Smith, I don't think wind will be an issue. I don't think the cold's going to bother them that much. And if we thought 49.5 at start, and now it's 48.5. So I don't know if the cold weather is going to go all the way back to Kansas City. I mean, when you look at the map, but I think it'll probably blow through there. And what's it going to be like Saturday? That's the key. And as far as I can look, I just think that this is this is a strong overplay. So hopefully it warms up by game time. The game time's 1:00 Saturday, and that should be good. So that's This is screaming as an over 42. Even if it's really cold, as I pointed out, the ice ball was 21, so that was 38, but you didn't have Mahomes and Coach Pete in it. And, I can't imagine Mahomes not getting in the 30s here. Again, the defense sucks for KC. Even if it's cold, they'll be able to throw. I mean, even if he rolls out and hits Kelsey all day, they're going to do that. And, the cold affects them for 5 minutes. After that, once the game gets going and they start sweating, it's not a cold factor. And they'll dress in the Bears. The 84 Bears used to dress in skin diving equipment as if you were in the ocean, snorkeling or skin diving when they put the wetsuit on, and it prevents the cold. And that's all you need to do, and then you're not cold anymore. So at worst, you see that. But I like this game over. Atlanta, Baltimore. Baltimore down to 6.5 and 35.5. Ooh, that really went down. Let's see what happened. Now, we already assume Lamar Jackson's not playing. I saw him questionable, but maybe now he is out. Baltimore injuries. Half their team's out. Lamar Jackson's questionable with a knee. He did not practice Wednesday. He's not out. Tyler Huntley was limited in practice. Doesn't mean anything. He's got a shoulder. It doesn't mean it just means, like, why do I need to practice? I'm a little injured. So he was limited, so he threw his passes. I would think he's going to play, as bad as he was last week, though. In Atlanta, do we see Mariota's out? We know. I think it's Arizona that's starting the Penn State quarterback. Yeah, so I don't see much on Atlanta. Let's see, player props. So you got Desmond Ridder, the quarterback for Atlanta. He's not bad. He's good, but he needs playing time. And even in the props, I don't see. So you got to figure Jackson's out, which probably better for Baltimore. He stinks anyway. 6.5, 35.5. I mean, I think you got to like Atlanta here. It's a playoff game. They still need it for their division, and they can still beat Tampa, amazingly enough. Over under a 35.5, just so low. Atlanta is a high-scoring team. Baltimore, who the fuck knows? What did they do last week? Terrible coaching. Okay, Huntley will play with a hurt shoulder against the Cincinnati quarterback. Whatchamacallit. So, yeah, it's a tough one. I think Atlanta in 12.5, though, is a big number for Baltimore to cover. Again, it's a playoff game, and I'll go through all that. The Niners, 7 and 37.5, down from 39.5. This will be our free play. Go under in this game. 37.5, under 43.5. The score won't even reach 30. Here you have two vaunted defenses. Washington showed how inept they are against the Giants last week. How does a guy sit there and not know he needs to line up on the line of scrimmage? That idiot cost me a $1,500 10-teamer. I hit every other game. And it wasn't even my call, which I'm a little upset at the guy I did it with. You're supposed to use my picks. He comes up with his own pick without asking me, and I would have told him to go under in the game if you need to take Washington. Why would I take the favorite in that game? Never. It's a dog game. And so he takes it, and we're getting 1.5 for 2. And then if they score the touchdown, and then even if they miss the 2-point conversion, we win we hit everything else, right? We hit 9. And so I was a little upset there because that was $1,500. I get 20%. And it cost him $1,300. So not a wise move to go and not listen to the professor. Do not, if we play 10 team teasers, 18 teasers, whatever, you listen to me. If you want to have your own pick, play your own card. Do not have your own pick in my card, and then and that's the loser, right? This happened again with some other buddy who I give him 5 winners and he takes the 6th and he makes his own pick thinking he knows what he's doing. Look, what I do is an art and a science. And if I'm going to do it and go in on 20%, you're using my picks. If you want to use your own picks, just do it on your own. You don't need me to lose on your own. So that really bothers me because I would have had 20% of 1,500, especially when I gave you 9 winners and I could have given you the 10th winner. Well, why are you playing that game and why are you taking the favorite? Unbelievable. So a little upset here. So go under in the Washington Frisco game. You got 2 strong defenses. McCaffrey's injured, maybe he plays hurt. You got Brock Purdy, who's injured, but let's say he plays. Skins with the tough defense. Where's the points coming from in this game? 37.5. Big enough. That's 43.5. The key is it's over 42 because that's 6 touchdowns. So this should be a very, very strong play. So play this. This is your free one with New Mexico State getting the 9.5. Good luck there. You can see I got several strong plays next week or this week. Now we come to Dallas, Philly. We got Dallas minus 5.5, 47.5. So let's see what's going on here. Let's see. Looking at the props. All right, so it looks like Gardner Minshew is the quarterback. Bennett, Pascal. Jalen Hurts. Okay, he's finally out. He's been ruling out. Okay. In Dallas, we hope Prescott's in. So we got DeMarcus Lawrence, questionable with a foot. Anthony Brown out. Jordan Lewis out. Noah Brown, never heard of. Vander Esch out. Bunning out. A lot of Micah Parsons now is questionable with an illness. Did not practice on Wednesday. I would bet anything he will play. I mean, this is not a game he's sitting out. And it's not even an injury, although I think he's hurt. So let's go to the history. In the history of this game, I love how they stick the props in this to get you to bet the props. Do not bet the props. Never bet the props because you don't know the odds. You don't know the prop. We're not studying for the props. So when I give you a game, I'm studying for it. I can tell you exactly who I think will win, if it'll be higher or lower, overs around high scoring or low scoring games, because that's what I'm studying. I can't tell you the props because who can study the props? Now I know philosophically, if we're playing the Bears, I probably want to bet Josh Allen this week because their defense sucks. And vice versa. If I'm playing Josh or Fields, I probably don't want to play him against Buffalo's defense. I want to play him against Miami. So you look at the weak defensive teams, Miami, Chicago, Detroit, and that's where you want to play your props. But again, that's just superficially because they got weak defenses. But in this case, don't sit there and start wasting your money on prop bets, okay? We don't know. believe me, the one team's trying to take that guy away. Ezekiel Elliott, believe me, Philly's taking him away. Strong run defense. I wouldn't make a prop on him. He's not going to do anything. They'll probably have to throw more. And they'll probably cover CeeDee Lamb, so it probably makes the tight end, or, Moose Johnson will probably catch a lot of passes. All right, let's look at the history. So this year, Philly at home won 26-17. Last year, Dallas won both games, 51-26, 41-21. So they won at Philly and they won in Dallas. As the game in Dallas, they were favored. The game in Philly, I don't know if Philly played. It was 1-8-22, and if Philly had clinched, I don't know enough about it. In 20, Dallas won at Dallas. Philly won in Philly, 37-17, 23-9. So we're not seeing close games. And then in 19, Philly wins 17-9. Dallas wins at home 37. So what we see here is the home team has won 2, 4, 6, 7 out of the last 8. Only Dallas winning at Philly 51-26. We don't know if it was a laydown game because they had clinched or not. So this is a definite home team trend per se. Philly now as the 1 seed, this we'll see. So this is a playoff game. Philly needs, I think they clinched the division and probably the 1 seed, although I don't know. Minnesota's still sticking around, but I think Philly has it. Now, as an analyst, how do we feel about Gardner Minshew? Well, he looked good at Jacksonville. He's played good. He was at Washington State at passing school, and he did very well. He got drafted pretty high. Okay, they got him as a backup to Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is injured. Minshew's a better passer than Hurts. Hurts runs better than Minshew. The way this NFL league is now, he's going to go back and he'll scramble and he'll do the little scramble stuff. The way Philadelphia is made with Boston Scott and Sanders and Devontae Smith and Hollywood Brown, me and you can go in as quarterback. We've got, what I bitch about with Josh Allen and Fields is Fields has a running attack and no passing, but Josh Allen he can't hand the ball off, right? A little bit with Cook's little brother from Georgia is starting to assimilate and go. But basically, all the quarterback needs to do is just run. Is just hand off to Scott and Sanders, and he's got the receivers to throw to, and he's got the tight end. Is it a big drop off? No, it's not. People are putting Hurts on a pedestal, which he doesn't belong. He's not that good, but because he runs, he looks better, and because he's got all these weapons, he looks better. So we'll give him credit for being okay. He's a little better than we think. He's not accurate. He wasn't accurate, right? All those Oklahoma quarterbacks that aren't really accurate. So is Gardner Minshew going to hurt us? I don't think so. I don't see a problem with Gardner Minshew in there that we're not. Oh my God, it's just 3 plays and punt the whole game. We're going to get shut out. On the other hand, Dallas, what do we know? Prescott, terrible quarterback, going to give us 2 interceptions at least. He will score. He will give us points because he just keeps throwing. We're not sure what team he throws it to. Look for Philly to get at least 3 turnovers, at least 2 interceptions. He'll give us that. The 4th down crap. I do not see Dallas in any way or shape blowing out Philadelphia here. In fact, the opposite. If there's a blowout, it'll be Philly. I think they're a very live dog, and I think that we like the game over 41.5. So we can go either way in this game. I've been waiting to see who is the quarterback for Philly. So my first thought was Nick going, I don't like Philly. He's out. And I'm like, wait a minute. And Dallas was 1.5. My line's Philly -3, even with Minshew. Philly's the better team. They've only lost once. Dallas just lost to fucking Jacksonville, and they barely beat Houston. They should have lost both those games. Do you want to bet on that team? You think that team's great, losing to Jacksonville and barely beating Houston? Give them the Minnesota win. They beat the Lions. Okay, fine. Yes, they've had some good wins, but with Cooper Rush, they were much better because they ran it down your throat and played defense. But with Prescott, they don't run it down your throat. He wants to throw too many interceptions. He doesn't rest his own defense. I think this will be the only thing keeping me from betting it over is Philly's defense. Philly, knowing they got Minshew, I think they run it a little bit more, play a little more ball control, and they're so I think I like Philly a little bit more with 11.5 than the over in the game, because when you got a strong defense like Philly does, it's hard to go over in a game. Yes, we think Dallas is an over team, but if we look at Philly last week, so if we look at the last few weeks of Philly, all right, 25-20 with the Bears is a 45. And the week before, all right, they blow out the Giants 48-22 with a very good defense. So, but again, the Giants got 22, and then here the Bears with the very good offense gets to 20. So I don't like this game over. Dallas, I mean, what? 40-34 because Prescott throws 3 picks. And then before that, a 27-23 with Houston. You're giving up 23 to Houston, right? You're beating them by 4. Where in God's name is they're going to blow out Philadelphia coming from? Maybe it's an over, but without Hurts, it's probably, the chances are it's less of an over, probably more ball control with Minshew, because he's not going to run where Hurts ran for 3 touchdowns last week. You're not going to get that from Minshew. It's going to be more traditional Boston Scott and Sanders running, and more him throwing it to Devontae Smith, and that it'll lead to more drives and more field goals, I believe. So where I don't love the over because of Philly's defense, I do love the dog here. Give me Philly plus 11.5. They're the better team. They're getting more. I got more than 10 points with Philadelphia. Dallas could beat Houston, or how the fuck do you lose to Jacksonville? They had like a 24-7 lead to Trevor Lawrence, and they couldn't hold that because Prescott threw interceptions. So Prescott will throw the interceptions here because he's a lousy quarterback. You know, people have to realize what they're seeing, and they don't. They don't want to accept it. He's not good. He throws too many to the wrong team. That's who he is. That's who he's always been. That's why Dallas never wins playoff games, right? If Dallas is if this is round 1 of the playoffs, I'd be all over Philly or San Francisco or, well, I don't know about Tampa, but even the Giants, and the Dallas is Dallas, so it's Philly, it's the Giants, it's Tampa Bay. I don't think maybe they could beat Tampa. I don't know. Tampa's got their own problems, but the Niners, I'd be all over the Niners in this game. So I got to go with Philly and 11.5. It's too many points to give. Okay, you can't underestimate Minshew and the fact, like, oh, look what's going to happen. Look what's happening with all these other teams, right? Look at Atlanta. They go to the Cincinnati quarterback, and I keep having a mental block. Then you got backups all over the place who are doing fine. Look at fucking Pittsburgh. Pickett or Trubisky both suck, and yet they're winning games. You just find a way. Like, Philadelphia's going to run the ball down their throat and the little passes, and Minshew can certainly make little outs and little slants, and the defense is going to be knowing they need to stop Dallas, and Dallas doesn't, really impress me that much. I'm not a big CeeDee Lamb player. I like Elliott. Pollard's okay, but not against Philadelphia. You're not going to run on Philly. So take Philly in the 11.5. That's money in the bank there. Oakland and Pitt. Pitt 2.5, 39.5. That hasn't really moved. I think it was a 40 once, but 39.5. Oh my God, what do I hear? Cold weather. Derek Carr doesn't like the cold weather. Believe me, the cold weather is not going to bother Derek Carr. Devontae Adams from Green Bay is certainly not going to bother him. I think it's a bunch of bullshit. That's why you don't listen to the outside. They don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Pittsburgh cannot be at 2.5. I don't know if Trubisky. Let's see who's with either core. I think it's Pickett starting or Trubisky. Let's see. Let's see. Pittsburgh. Miles Jack. He's good. He was from UCLA. I always liked him. I don't know why Tampa Bay or Jacksonville let him go. Anthony Miller's out, wide receiver. Deontay Johnson's out, or he's questionable with the toe. Najee Harris, the running back. So I assume Pickett's starting because I don't see him on the injured list. For Oakland, we've got Rock Ya-Sin, the cornerback. Who the fuck? Where do they get these guys? How do you name your kid? Yaxis, Rock Ya-Sin. His name's Rock Ya-Sin. Well, maybe they took it from The Rock, I guess. So I don't see any major injuries to Oakland. So now we get back to it's a playoff game. It's Pitt laying 2.5. Over under a 39.5. I like the game over, and I like Oakland. Oakland's a live dog here. Yeah, they suck and they find ways to lose, and how they won last week is a joke. But Pitt's not a favorite. Pitt beats Carolina 24-16. Oakland in the New England abortion. That coach should be fired on New England. Whoever had him throw the ball back. I mean, that shows you have no idea what you're doing, right? Play against Pitt as a home favorite, 9-0, and I'll go through the stats right after this. So we got a playoff game. We got Pitt, who can't be a home favorite, laying 2.5. You take 8.5 from the Raiders. Not a strong road dog, but it's a playoff game. They'll show up. That's really all you're looking at. When I say it's a playoff game, both teams are going to show up. That's what you want. You want that. So I like Oakland in 8.5 here. Green Bay, Miami. Where's my this guy. Okay. Miami, 3.5, 49.5. What do we got? Playoff game. Green Bay needs to win out. I don't think they're going to do it. I think they beat the Lions. I don't think they win this game. Miami laying 3.5, 49.5. So the number went up. Green Bay's kind of a even team, right? They'll score in the 20s and give up on the 20s. So they have this great defense. Miami's an over team. They're very explosive with Tyreek Hill, and they have no defense. So what do you think Aaron Rodgers is going to do? He's licking his lips going, "Oh, this is good. This team." What do you think Tagovailoa is doing? He's licking his lips going, Green Bay doesn't have a defense. Now, the stat I gave you, Miami, 13-2 in Miami, 21-2 the last 2 years. In Miami, they don't lose. Green Bay can't win on the road. Miami wins every time at home, 21-2. So right off the bat, this is a Miami play. But when we look a little bit deeper in it, we realize that Aaron Rodgers is going to light it up. We also realize Tagovailoa is going to light up Green Bay. That's what he does. 49.5 is 43.5, which is nothing, 24-20. With Aaron Rodgers, you know you're going to get your in the 20s, and with Tagovailoa, so let's just check, make sure he's not injured. So I'm getting so quick with this now. I pretty much know all the teams inside and out. So now I see the game, I do the jigsaw puzzle, and then it's really check for injuries. Now I've checked for injuries, but we'll check again. So the first thing I do is check for injuries. So do I see Tagovailoa? I see offensive tackle is questionable for Miami. And the more defensive players that are out, the better, because you want the game over. A lot of defensive injuries. But I don't see anybody important injured. A lot of injuries, but nothing, not like Tyreek Hill or Waddle or what was there? Aaron Rodgers was a full participant in practice on Wednesday, heading into Week 16. I don't know why they keep showing the right thumb. He's had the right thumb for 2 months now. He's played every game. He's certainly not missing this. One thing is a gamer, they need to win out to make the playoffs. Now, that'll be a lock if Green Bay can win this game, which I don't think they can. But if they do, and they go play the Lions the last week of the year, we're locking Green Bay over the Lions. Because there's no way the Lions can win a big game if they need to at Green Bay. It'll never happen. Rodgers will pick them apart. So keep that in mind. So that's what our goal is, Green Bay over Detroit last week. That's, 3 weeks away. Let's see. Aaron Jones, running back, questionable with the knee. He's playing. Rashad Gary, out. Linebacker, good. Cornerback, groin. A.J. Dillon, good. He's the running back. So you want the offensive players playing and the defensive players out, so they got to use 4 stringers on defense. Linebacker out. Linebacker probable. I never heard of. Stokes, quarterback out. Ryan, the O lineman, out, suspended. So we're pretty good with injuries. Nothing serious with Tagovailoa. Aaron Rodgers, full per. So Aaron Rodgers is going to play, and he's going to play big. There's no way Green Bay is not getting 28 in this game. And there's no way Miami's not getting 30-something. So that's a 50, 60-point game, of which we got 49 down to 43. Take the over. As good as the trend play is on Miami, here's what supersedes it is when you got an Aaron Rodgers in a must-win game, Tagovailoa in a must-win game, and they're at home against kind of weak defenses, they're going to score. And that supersedes taking Miami plus 2.5, which Miami plus 2.5 probably wins. But I don't want to fuck with Aaron Rodgers, and I know he's going to score. And just, look for a high-scoring game here is all I can say. So go over with this game. And Denver, LA. Denver's now a 3-point favorite, up from 1.5. Over under 36.5. So what's going on with the Rams? Or I guess maybe it's Russell Wilson playing. Denver, Latavius Murray, running back's questionable. Jay Hamler's out. What else is new? He never Russell Wilson, so I assume he's playing. Stafford we know is out. Cup we know is out. Wolford the backup. So Mayfield, we get Mayfield again. Like, who cares? Did I miss Aaron Donald? Yes, I did. He's questionable with an injury. Did not practice on Wednesday. Is he really going to play a meaningless game? I doubt it. So let's assume he doesn't play. What do you do with this game? Denver lane 3. I just got under. I got go under 42.5. Denver with a strong defense. The Rams don't have anything. They're probably a little stronger defensively. Mayfield's not going to do anything offensively. So I guess the only way to play the game's under. You certainly can't take Denver as a road favorite. You can't take the Rams, too many injuries. So I think it's an under. I guess Stafford was on his wife's podcast trying to get ratings, and she asked him point blank, "Are you coming back next year?" And he said yes. So he's determined. What does he think? He's Brady. So do we really care? No. He got his ring. He sucked on Detroit for 15 years. I don't know how he was the number 1 draft pick. He really was not he was all right as a quarterback. Had a good arm. He couldn't read a defense, couldn't get away from a blitz. So I don't know. I think under's the only way to play this. Tampa Bay, 839.5. All right, Arizona's got quarterback problems. Arizona does not have Kyler Murray. They don't have Colt McCoy. They have Trace McSorley, Penn State, who I liked on Baltimore. But Tampa needs the game. Arizona's just so banged up. They have a weak defense anyway. Tampa needs the game. They look good the first half against Cincy, and they ain't facing Joe Burrow this week. So I look for Tampa to pull out all stops, get the win here. You're only laying 2. This is a good Tampa play. Must win. Arizona's out of it. Okay, they play. Connor plays. They play a little bit. But again, you got Trace McSorley, who again is not bad. He's not killing you. It's just Tampa looked good the first half last week, then turned it over because Cincinnati decided to play the second half. Arizona does not have a defense anywhere near Cincinnati's, so be careful with that. You just got to take Tampa lane 2 and be on with it. That's all you need to do. It's simple. Arizona, I mean, even McSorley's good, but he hasn't played. And Tampa needs to win, which we've been saying for the whole year. So I'm not betting backs against the wall Tampa because their backs aren't against the wall. They're in the lead in their division. They can keep losing. And Carolina, Atlanta, and New Orleans, they'll keep losing. And they'll end up winning the division at a 6-10 record. But that's okay. That's the NFL. So we think they'll try. We think they'll get a win here. It's in the desert. We don't have to worry about the weather. And last but not least is San Diego, now up to 4.5, 45.5 against Indy, who just played Kansas City pretty fucking good. Or they played Minnesota pretty fucking good too. Or Dallas, I think they played Dallas good and Minnesota good. So let's get into San Diego. Anybody we know? Bosa out with the groin. Amazing. Guy gets a groin injury. He's out for the whole year. This was 9/25. The fucker's still out, and it's 3 months later with a groin injury. What a joke that guy is. Derwin James, question about the quad, the safety. And that's it. In Indianapolis, linebacker Shaquille Leonard's out. Defensive end Taiwan. I never heard of these guys. Armani Watts, safety's out. Cornerback's questionable. Taylor's out, broke his ankle or a high ankle sprain. Carter O'Donnell, OT. And so I do see Matt Ryan playing. What do we know? San Diego, playoff team. Indy, I don't think it's a playoff game. San Diego's an over team. Good offense, as we know, no defense. Indy, kind of a W team. They don't score that much, but they did against what was it, Kansas City and Dallas and Minnesota. So we know they can score, and they're an over team. Now, two of the scores against Minnesota last week was a block punt and a pick six. We'll probably get the pick six this week. Over under of only 45.5. San Diego 4.5. What do we know about San Diego? Play against San Diego 26-5. The only time we don't play against San Diego is when they're the dog. They're a 4.5-point favorite. So we like Indy in 10.5, and we like the over because both defenses suck. So we go over 39.5. Love that play. So Nick calls me. He's like, I don't know. I can't find anything. Well, let me dig into it. And it's just I can play the whole board. So you've got to dig in. That's the point of getting to the understanding of the game. This is all puzzle pieces, right? This is putting the puzzle together. Maybe it's a chess game. Maybe it's a poker hand. It's different every week. And you've got to get to understand the team as we have. So when we look today, Jacksonville and the Jets. Well, when the Jets were a home dog, I loved the game. That's the first thing that stuck out to me. Lawrence sucks. What do they got that's going to scare me? So I immediately took the Jets. So that was an easy one in the game. So let's quickly go through. Jacksonville and the Jets tonight's a playoff game. By that, I mean both teams are in the playoff or need the game for the playoffs. Houston, Tennessee, but they don't have Tannehill, and they might not have Henry, so we'll see. The Giants, mini, both teams need the game. New Orleans, Cleveland, both teams need the game. Buffalo, Chicago, it's Buffalo needing the game. They want to wrap up one, and they got Cincinnati coming up who's going to beat them. Seattle, KC, both teams need the game. Cincinnati, New England, both teams need the game. Detroit, Carolina, both teams need the game. Atlanta, Baltimore, both teams need the game. Now, what we're getting is because Tampa's so bad, the Atlantas, the Carolinas, the New Orleans need it not for a wild card, but to win the division because the winner's going to win 7 games and you win the division. So, but they still have the incentive, but you got to understand they're lousy. So Detroit, Carolina, both teams need it. Atlanta, Baltimore, both teams need it. Washington, Frisco, both teams need it. Philadelphia, Dallas, this is for all the marbles in the East. Oakland, Pitt, both teams need it. Green Bay, Miami, both teams need it. Denver, LA, nobody needs it. Tampa, Arizona, Tampa needs it. San Diego, Indy, San Diego needs it. I think Indy's a little bit they're too much away for the wild card, and I don't think they can catch Tennessee. So that's what we have. So let's go through some trends. So in the overall teaser world, who do we bet? Who's hot this year and last year? San Diego, like a 90% clip if you bet them. The Jets, Houston, Philly, and Atlanta are just bet on them, and they're really, really strong. 90% that you're going to win if you just bet on them. The other ones that are pretty strong are Minnesota, Cincy, Miami, they're in the play against. So if I just bet against this team because they suck in a teaser and I bet against them, I win. The strongest ones are LA, New Orleans, Atlanta, Indy, and San Diego. And you say, Howard, how can Atlanta and San Diego be on both sides? Because they play 3-point games. All their games are close. So if you take the teaser, you win. If you bet against them, you win. So that depends on who they're playing if you want to play them or play against them. So you might take San Diego against Indy because San Diego's on the play against list, and San Diego's on the play and the play against list. So more than likely, San Diego wins a close one. The other teams in that 80% are Minnesota, Chicago, Tampa, Cleveland, Washington, and Jacksonville. Those teams lose about 80% of the time in a teaser. This is this year and last year. Now, before I would go back another year, but it's very hard to go back more than two with all the coaching changes. You had 11 coaching changes last year. So you got to digest how the coach is going to do. Then um, you have the coaching changes. Then you have the quarterback changes. Too many quarterback injuries because they're all running. They think it's not a problem to run, that the quarterbacks won't get injured. Only the quarterbacks are too stupid to slide. You get your Mahomes and your Russell Wilson who generally slide, but you get your Josh Allens who think they're fullbacks and won't get hurt, who haven't been introduced to pro football before. And your Fields who wants to take the guys on, and Lamar Jackson who wants to take the guys on. These guys are called idiots. There's no other name for them. You've got to slide. Now, what I notice, every game's the same. Quarterback goes back, he rolls a little bit, and then he runs for 10 yards, or he throws the little pass to the tight end dragging underneath, or the back out of the backfield. This is 90% of the plays in pro football now, and it really sucks. Occasionally, you get some crossing patterns that apparently the defense does not understand how to guard. So the receiver, there's two receivers on the right. Here's the ball. And this guy goes straight. This guy does this, and he kind of crosses the field. They're playing zone. Nobody knows how. None of the defense pick him up. He just floats around, and he's wide open. I see this so many times where the defense just stands there, especially on these third and longs, and the guy just curls across, and the defense is too stupid to cover him. Or, oh, I'm in the zone, I can't cover him, you cover him. And he just sits down in between, and he's wide open. And, and the quarterback looks good because, oh, look, what a great pass. Yeah, right. Anybody could make that pass. So that's what I see. I see the same freaking offense on every team. It's a joke, except for Fields, who can't throw, so he runs more. You cannot look at Philadelphia. Arguably, Philly and Cincy, the best two teams in the league, great Super Bowl. What do? They have running. Their quarterback, Murray, no, not Murray, Hurts tends to run more, but does have running backs and receivers throw, and he can throw and run. Where Burrow runs very rarely, he hands off to Mixon and Perrine, and he throws to Chase. That's what that's the best, because how do you defend that? What are you going to do? You got to double team Chase. That leaves Perrine open, or Mixon. That leaves the tight end open. That leaves T. Higgins. You can't double team them. And so it makes it extremely difficult. That's the idea, not to have your quarterback like Lamar Jackson or Fields be the mainstay. Then what do you do? And I would just blitz the hell out of these guys. I'm sorry. It's enough with rushing 3 or 4 and spying him. You can't spy him because you're standing there and he's already run 10 yards. He's going to put a move on you. 99% of the time, you're fucked. Hey, Prophet. Received your Excel file and is massive. Goes, oh, yeah. You just the last few years. You can delete all those early ones to make it better. But the idea is the year is what you fill in. So 2022, it's all up to date. So this week, the Jets, Jacksonville, the Jets are a home favorite. You go to the Jets, you go play home favorite. Did they cover or not? You manually put into it. Be careful. If it says 2-1, you got to make it 3 or 2-2. You don't just put in 1. You now go from 2 to 3. You add the play. Then you go over to the play against. You do the same thing. Go to the home field for the Jets. And did you win betting Jacksonville or did you lose? You manually put it in. Then the formulas take care of it. And then you go to the 2022 tab, 21-22 tab, and it's automatically going to pick up the formula. It's very easy. It's just placeholder. It's just cells. So A22. You don't have to really do anything. It's all set up. All you need to do is just type in the number after the result. So I can walk you through the Jets tonight, what happened, and then it'll automatically update the percentages and it'll automatically update. And what you're going to look at is the 21-22 history, which combines the years, which gives you the percentages, which is what I look at, which is what I tell you. So just let me know what you're having problems with. When I can walk around better, I'll go to the library and I'll simplify the file. You don't need all the 90 stuff, but you don't know how to delete the tab. So I'll do that for you. And I'll just give you the last like 2 years. So I'll give you 21, 22, and then the total, and then the little thing I do for the stats, if you want that. I don't know if you need that as much as just what the teaser trends are. But yeah, it's a neat tool. I've been using it for 30 years. No, it's got all the totals already there. So all you got to do now is just look at the tab and read it. So those are the teaser trends. That's what I'm talking about, Prophet, these teaser trends. So if you looked at it, you'd see San Diego's like, 11-1 or 13-1, or what do I got them at? Like Philly's 13-1 in a teaser. So that's what you would see. So let's go through the trends. The Giants are a good road dog against Mini. Buffalo 14-2 play against home dog. That's Chicago. Chicago 14. So Chicago's a home dog you play or play against. Like Philly, they lost by 5. So either way, you're fine. Chicago is 23-3 at home. That's what leads me against taking Buffalo, but to take the over in the game. Seattle 10-2 is a road dog. Atlanta, Baltimore, good trend on both teams. San Francisco, very strong home team. Philly 13-1 overall this year. Dallas is not that strong in a teaser. Play against Pitt as a home favorite, 9-0. We've talked about Green Bay, Miami. Green Bay sucks on the road, 16-1. Miami strong at home, 21-2. Play against Arizona at home, 14-1, which makes me like Tampa more. And play against San Diego, 26-5. So that's kind of the trend part. The question is, how much do you play the trend is the question. Then we go into the weather games. So if we looked at the map of the U.S., what games are going to be impacted? Pretty much most of them. Now, if we go through the list, Jacksonville Jets, probably not, because the storm hasn't really moved in, so that game should be pretty mild. Houston, Tennessee will probably be cold. The Giants Mini, I think Mini's in the dome, aren't they? So no effect at all. New Orleans, Cleveland will be cold. Now Buffalo and Chicago will be cold, but they're both cold teams. So that really shouldn't have much of an effect there. Seattle, KC, will it be that cold still in KC Saturday afternoon? Because if this is coming through Thursday, by Saturday, KC's on the west of it, and the storm's moving this way, so KC might not be that cold. Certainly by this 48.5, I don't think it will be. Cincinnati, New England probably will be cold. Shouldn't affect Joe Burrow at all. Max Jones sucks in warm or cold weather. Detroit, Carolina, there could be cold, which is going to help Carolina. Detroit hates cold. They're these dome teams. They can't stand the cold weather. Atlanta, Baltimore, same thing. It's going to be probably cold in Baltimore, again, because these games are Saturday. So it could be a weather effect, and you can see the unders down to 35.5. Washington, Frisco. Now, this shouldn't be a weather because it's West Coast. It's low because you got two good defenses, but again, the free play, we like the under in the game. Philly, Dallas should not have a weather problem. Oakland, Pitt could be a little weather on the East Coast. Again, 39.5. Again, we probably like the dog here anyway. Oakland, Pitt. Green Bay, Miami should not be weather. It's in Miami. Denver, LA, no weather. Tampa Bay, Arizona, no weather. And San Diego, Indy, no weather because it's a dome. So there's a few games where the weather will be. And we've You know, I think the one key game is the Buffalo-Chicago game. How bad's the weather going to be? But the fact Chicago runs it with Fields and Allen runs so much and the short passing game and the strong arm, I don't think the win, even if it is 10, 15 miles, is going to be a factor in the game. Snow certainly wouldn't be because they're going to put tarp on the field, and the field should not be covered. And as we saw last week with Miami, when it did snow, Buffalo had no problem coming back from 29-21 and winning the game. So I'm not worried about that. What did we learn from last week? Well, we learned Buffalo doesn't have that great defense without Von Miller, or Miami lit him up pretty good, but Buffalo lit up Miami. So that's why that leads me to the Green Bay Miami over. Is seeing Miami doesn't have a good defense in Green Bay. It's okay. But with Aaron Rodgers, they can't afford to fuck around because they need the game. We see the Jets, strong defense against the Lions, and Jacksonville has a very weak defense, so that's why I like the Jets. Giants, the Giants, strong defense. Minnesota has trouble with this. Look what they did with Indy. We learned Minnie has no defense. We learned Indy has no defense, I like the over because San Diego's going to light them up, and Indy doesn't have a defense. And without Taylor, Matt Ryan will still throw the ball. God knows they lit up Minnesota, and San Diego is not much better than Minnesota. Tampa looked pretty good last week. Philly, Dallas, absolutely no. I've never seen a team go from this dominant defense with Micah Parsons to this shit, where they're giving up 40 points to Jacksonville with the 24-7 lead. Well, excuse me. I thought they had the greatest defensive coordinator in the world and the great defense, and now all of a sudden they suck. So definitely like the dog there. Washington, we see how they struggle offensively. They got a good defense. The Niners, McCaffrey's hurt. Brock Purdy's hurt. They'll probably play, but I don't see them lighting up Washington. It's a beautiful, strong defensive game. Baltimore. Atlanta with the new quarterback was okay. It took him a while. He got a late touchdown. And then Baltimore with Huntley looked like shit. So, again, I don't know. I don't think it's a 35, but Baltimore is struggling offensively. I think it's their play calling. Detroit, we saw, had problems on the road. Cincinnati, beautiful. Getting crushed by Tampa the first half, comes on and says, okay, we're done fucking around, force turnovers, and just kill Tampa in the second half. They should not have a problem with New England. Seattle, KC, we can see KC's got no defense. Seattle's got no defense. This game should be a 60-point game. Should be over at halftime, but we'll see. New Orleans, Cleveland, we're still scratching our heads on both sides. And we talk Giants many. So what you have is we're getting near the playoffs, and that's now the games mean something. So you're going to get, like where Detroit, Carolina would be a meaningless game, it's now, hey, Bobby, it was a meaningless game, is now not a meaningless game. It's a playoff game. Carolina can catch Tampa. Detroit has to win out. And I don't think they can beat Green Bay at Green Bay. And I don't think they're going to win this game, to tell you the truth. The best scenario is they lose to Carolina, Green Bay loses to Minnie, and then Green Bay still can get there by beating Detroit at the end. I just want to see Green Bay beat Detroit the last week. So, I mean, that's what you have is teams like Carolina and teams. What's Oakland and Pittsburgh doing? And then Atlanta, Baltimore. Well, Baltimore's okay. Well, what's Atlanta? Like, they're still fighting for a playoff game. So you have all these playoff games, which means close games, which means the team's playing. So that's what you have this week. Maybe will be fewer games next week. We'll see who gets eliminated. But right now, it's just so. Prophet. I think most of these weather reports are overrated. Last week they were calling for 9 inches of snow in Buffalo, but it only hit near the end of the game when the over-under was already over. Under only a severe wind, like a Cleveland off the lake wind, is the only wind that really affects the game. Cold or snow actually makes the game over because the offense knows where they're going, their defense doesn't, and usually if you have decent quarterbacks, you're going to have high scoring games. Like look at Green Bay with Rodgers. He doesn't have a problem in the snow. It's when it gets really cold, but even then they still do it. Bobby, oh shit, the professor's back. Well, I'm my foot's a lot better. A word story. They only gave me 3 colchicines. Normally, when I get gout, and it's not that often, it's I get 6 to 10 pills, and I take 2 pills the first day, 2 the second, maybe 1 the third, and my foot's all 100% better. And they only gave me 3, and I was like a little pissed off because I had to limp into the doctor. And then he gives me a prescription for 3, which was like take 2 and an hour later take the third one. I'm like, what the fuck is that? And then so my foot got a little bit better, but not great. And I'm kind of still limping around. And I called the doctor, what the fuck? And he said, oh, well, I can give you another prescription, but you got to wait 72 hours, which is like at 4:00 I can take them. So I said, so I go to the pharmacy and they had called it in on Tuesday. So I go to the pharmacy yesterday and go, why did the guy only give me 3? He says, I don't know. It's up to the doctor, but it should still be the same 6, 10 pills and take 2 and 1 and 1. So I said, fuck it. I took one yesterday. I took one today and I'll take the final one tomorrow. And that'll give me my 6 pills, which I should have taken in the first place. And I've got to question the doctor, like, if you're going to do that again, I'll go to another doctor. I don't really have a clue. It's supposed to be beer and shellfish, which I don't drink beer, and I don't really have much shellfish. I do have tuna and I do have salmon, but I don't have. They said they thought too much like Diet Coke. Like after my workout in my hot tub, I get thirsty and I go and get a Slurpee with mostly just Diet Coke with a little bit of Slurpee. And she said, oh, Diet Coke, the salt dehydrates you. I asked the pharmacist. They're like, no, it doesn't affect it. I don't know what the fuck it is. I know I get it. Maybe I'll watch my Diet Cokes just maybe on the weekend or, like when I'm watching football. But today I'm able to walk pretty much pain-free. It's really hard to get up, but once I'm up and I start walking, I go, oh, this doesn't hurt. Bobby, I did go to the gold store yesterday. He had 3 eagles. He had 1 maple leaf, which I bought. And then he had 4 Credit Suisse bars, the little 1-ounce bars. And then he had some James Bond sovereigns. If you ever watch From Russia with Love, he's fighting the guy from Jaws. And he says, I can pay you in gold. And he pulls out of his briefcase, I guess 50 gold sovereigns, which is 5 on each side. So I guess they're each worth $5, I guess. And they're gold. And they're like quarter ounces. And so I looked at them and go, oh, it's James Bond. And then I said, well, maybe I should buy one because I don't mind the quarter ounces. The only problem with them is they never said they're gold. And so therefore, if I'm trying to sell it to somebody, or if Bobby wants it and he says, oh, I'll give it to you, I can't prove it's gold. You just have to know it's a gold sovereign, and it was in James Bond, although these are dated like 1912, and, it's worth a quarter ounce of gold. But if you looked on it, it didn't say gold. You didn't know if it was a quarter ounce of gold or what. So I just declined it and bought my ounce, and then I bought my 20 ounces of silver. So that's what I was up to. Yes, so it felt good to go to the gold store and go to the club, and I got in the hot tub, which was really good. Walked around the pool. I didn't try to work out. I just kind of do my walking. And then got my prescription and got groceries because I've been out of food. for a week. So that was good. So that was yesterday. I seen a blackjack video the other day and heard you had play. Yeah. Well, no, it's just the gout that I caught last week. It was so severe that I couldn't sit like this. I was just lying on the couch for a week, and therefore I was there's like now my foot's on the floor. I'm okay, but I couldn't do it. And I'd already talked about it on Wednesday, who I liked in pros and who I liked in the bowls. So everybody had the picks. I gave the free picks, which won Washington State under and Buffalo. Yeah, I think it was Buffalo. So I didn't see I really would have had a hard time trying to do it Saturday and Sunday, and I'd already talked about it. Phil, these guys use drugs and wear wetsuits under uniforms. The cold shouldn't even be an issue. Though I know it is for players. Yeah, well, that's what I said. It's the diving suits that the old Richard Dent on the Bears, the '84 Bears. They played a playoff game against the Rams. It was 20 below, but they all had wetsuits on. And then the Montana game, I think it was '86 or '87, where they came in and beat the Bears in Chicago in 20 below. Rice caught a touchdown or whatever. And yeah, they're in the wetsuit. So no, it shouldn't be a problem at all. It's not the cold, it's the wind. If we don't have wind, it's a piece of cake. If they do have wind, that's going to keep the games under. And the only place I really see it is Cleveland. I'm not sure about Baltimore, Pittsburgh, if they're going to have the wind or not. Bobby, do you have any gold bars? I have a quarter-ounce gold bar, but mostly I buy coins just because I prefer it. Doesn't really matter. It's still, but they do have the ounce of gold. Credit Suisse gold ones. That the guy. Oh, you mean some? Do you mean sometimes? Well, not you, but I just use you as an example. If you have a gold coin, you would have to prove it, right? You'd have to say it's a quarter ounce of gold. And everything I buy, it says 1 ounce of gold, 99.99. So I can prove it to anybody. It's not that you don't believe, like if I told you it's gold, you'd probably believe me. But if it's not me and you don't know the person and he's trying to sell you gold, I don't know. I want to see 1 ounce of gold or a quarter ounce of gold or a half ounce of gold on the coin. And these sovereigns don't show you that it's actual gold because it was done so long ago. You just knew it was gold. And there's some old 1902 American Eagles or whatever that were the Morgans that were gold, but they don't say gold on it. So that's the only thing is be not that they're not gold, but if you're trying to sell it, you got and the guy says prove it, you want it to say 1 ounce of gold. Bobby, a trip to the coin store would cheer you up quickly. Oh, it did yesterday. And then I put my gold away and I got my silver here, which I don't want to limp to the silver box. And the slippery ball from the hard football in cold is an issue. Yeah, but they wear those also the gloves that pretty much stick. I remember was it Jim McMahon that used to wear those gloves, scuba gloves or whatever, and you got really good grip throwing and catching it. So I don't even think that's an issue, but maybe. But again, that's why we want running teams there. Bobby, watch the beginning of the video. So in the beginning of the video, to recap, there will not be digital dollars in the U.S. They'll never happen because Congress has to vote it in, and Congress is run by J.P. Morgan and Chase. They're the ones who put the voting. They will never vote against it because they're controlled by the banks. Do not want to get away from being able to print as much as they want, and therefore there'll never be a central bank digital currency. Secondly, what was it? What did I start with? Some really good points today on my Alistair McLeod show. Basically, God, I'm drawing a blank. Um, so you have what was the other? Oh, the banks probably will not close your accounts as thought of. These will be in other countries, but not in the U.S. So if you have money in your bank, could probably not going to get it closed out. Okay, it probably won't uh, get to that point. There's just no way they're going to do it because again, the banks don't want that done. They want the money in there because they print money off of the money you give. So if you give them $100, they go print 1,000. So they're not. I don't believe they'll take your money out of the account. They might reduce it a little. They might come out with a new currency because they're just trying to ignore the fact they just want to keep printing money, saying, it'll be fine. So I think your money's safe in the bank, although we'll see. The third thing is the reset. The Great Reset, explained to me by Alistair today, was it's not a reset. It's the money gold going away from COMEX, going into physical, being now at physical prices. That's what the reset is. So as they've been keeping COMEX, keeping the prices down artificially, the reset is simply getting COMEX out of the way. The price goes up to demand, and gold now has a correct value, as I've been teaching last year, that the value will go to supply demand. The demand's huge because it's got India, China, Russia in there, and Saudi Arabia now. It's just the U.S. who's not woken up to it. And what'll happen is that's the reset. Not like we thought everything was resetting. It's just getting rid of the COMEX, breaking it, and then letting everything go to true value. Well, hell, that's not a reset. That's just economics. So I was happy to hear that. So I think it happens soon. Gold gets put up to market, supply demand, not like now. And I love when I hear somebody think that gold at the supply demand rate now, and I'm like, no, it's not. It's being manipulated down. It's not at supply demand. Now I know when I went yesterday, 1822 was the spot on gold. I bought my 1 ounce maple leaf at 1922. If I wanted an eagle, it was 1988. If I wanted the credit Swiss 1 ounce bar, it was at 1879. So it was cheaper than the maple leaf. I asked him why. He just said, well, more people prefer the coin. So you're dealing a lot with just demand of the people. They prefer the coin over the bar. They prefer the eagle for safe haven over the maple leaf, but really it's not worth buying if you have the choice to buy the eagle because it's more and it's an ounce of gold. And the same thing with silver. The silver rounds were 35. I bought the buffalo for 28. And again, it's an ounce of silver, and it's just you want to buy. If you want to buy it, then there's no difference. It's just why pay more? Because at the end of the day, it's an ounce of silver. You're not buying it because it's worth. That's what a silver eagle's theoretically worth is $1, but you're not buying the eagle. You're buying the ounce of silver, which is really that's where it's going to go to 2,000 an ounce. So that's what I talked about early, Bobby. If you want to watch that again, so it looks like that's all the reset is, which is what we think. I think soon gold will go up, but the U.S. is really fighting to keep it down. That's the problem. So when you ask a date, that's the problem. J.P. Morgan basically wants to keep the price of gold down so you stay in dollars. They don't want to admit. It's like a lie to your wife, right? You're married and you're out dating other girls and you think, well, I'll just keep lying to her. Oh, no, I had to work late and this and that. And eventually the wife figures it out and finds out you're fucking around on her, and there goes the divorce. And what the Fed's doing and JP Morgan is, well, we're working late. We're working late. No, I'm not cheating. And eventually everybody figures it out and knows they're cheating. And that's, I think, what's happening. So that's why we really don't get the time. We can't give you a time, but we know it's soon. But again, I don't think the bank accounts are going to get shut down. See, when I listen to this guy, he really puts it on the table. When you listen to these other idiots, they just, I don't know, they're trying to scare you so you buy more. I don't know what they're doing, but they're giving you a lot of false information, which is why I tell you, like, don't listen to BetMGM for football tips. Don't listen to these morons for gold and silver stuff and economics. All I can tell you is it's a cold winter in Europe and the energy costs are high. We'll see what happens. Keep an eye on Japan and the Eurozone and Germany, what they do with their currency. But the U.S. is a different animal, and I think they'll eventually come out with a new currency. I think they'll just say, okay, here's the new dollar. What you have in your bank's worth 70 cents on the dollar. We're not going to go to digital currency, that's for sure. I think it's an option. If you own Bitcoin, get out of it. It's going to zero. It's Russian mafia running it. So why would you want to be in bed with Russian mafia unless you're Russian mafia? So get out of that. It's not a good asset to be in. And you can't give me a reason why it would go up other than, oh, it's going to go up because I think it's going to go up. So get out of Bitcoin. I know you guys want to get out of the dollar, and I understand that and makes sense to me. But your options are Mickey Mantle cards or gold and silver, but not Bitcoin is not an option. There's no reason. Look what's happening. It's all exploding. These guys are losing billions of dollars in it. Why do you want, and you don't know what it is to trust it, right? Gold and silver, they can't fuck around with it, right? You own it. You got it in your hand. There's it. You don't have to worry about it. Phil, how long has that dollar been on your desk? I swear you've been waving that same dollar. Well, I ripped it on one of the shows, right? I showed you the value of the dollar, and I just keep it here. I don't want to keep ripping dollars, but I keep it here to show you this is the value of the dollar. It's worthless. And I'm making a point. And I got that from my economics professor in 1995 when I took the class. That's exactly what he did, which kind of gets your mindset into what it is. It's paper, it's fiat currency, it's not backed by anything but the faith of government, and it's worthless. And it was, and the proof is, it used to take 35 of these to buy an ounce of gold in 71. It now takes 1,800 of these, or 1,900, to buy an ounce of gold now. That tells you the value of this has dropped because the ounce of gold hasn't changed. It's an ounce of gold. That's all it is, right? It's still an ounce of gold, but this has lost its value. And that's the point of this, is to tell you it's just worthless paper. But as people are figuring it out, that's the point of that's the point of I'm trying to get the point across that that's all this is. It doesn't have a value. Yeah, I can go to Target and buy, ice cream with it and cookies and milk and, stuff like that, eggs, but that's it. It's not, it really is phony. It's really from the government, and it's a vehicle they can print. And so when JP Morgan needs $1 million, he prints $1 million. And when the government wants $1 million, they print $1 million, and they're playing this charade game with us. Oh, I'm not cheating. No, I'm not cheating. I'm not having an affair on you, as if nobody will figure it out. But that's exactly the closest comparison I can make to what's happening now. And they will get caught. It always does. And then you'll have your reset. Okay. I thought it was folded. No, it's ripped on purpose. But you notice I ripped $1. I wasn't going to rip 100. But basically, the 100 is going to be worth the dollar soon. But that's the idea of it, just so you understand. It's really, um, that's the value of it. So just be careful with it. So let's go down to football one last time. The college, so the bowl games, I'm just going through the 26th. Baylor 3.5 over Air Force, over under 43.5. That's today. I like the over. Houston, Lou Lafayette. Houston 7.5, 56.5. I like Houston in the game. And the over. Wake 1.5, 58.5 against Missouri. I like Wake and Hartman getting the 4.5. San Diego State 6.5, Middle Tennessee. I like the game under, as San Diego State's a very strong defensive team and a very strong under team. And Bowling Green 3.5, 47.5 over New Mexico State. I like New Mexico State and the 9.5, and that's my free play. We looked at Michigan still 7.5, Georgia still 6.5, USC still 2.5, Utah still 2.5, UCLA 3.5, Washington's getting 3.5. That was pretty much what we looked at, but really we're just looking at this week. So free play, New Mexico State. They've been lighting it up. I'm sure their quarterback's not getting ready for the draft. And then we'll look at the pros again. We got the Jets, Jacksonville tonight. I already took the Jets as a home dog. It flopped to home favorite. It's up to you if you want to still take it. The Jets are now 1.5, 37.5. I'd still advise taking the Jets in 4.5. I think they'll cover that. Etienne's out. Lawrence has a bad toe, but he'll play. But the Jets defense is the difference here. Tennessee 3.5, 35.5. I don't really like it. Probably under. We got to wait and see if Henry plays. Mini 3.5, 47.5. I like the Giants. Cleveland 2.5, 32.5. I like New Orleans. Buffalo 8.5, 40.5. I like the over here. KC, Seattle. KC 10.5, 48.5. I like the over. Cincinnati, New England. Cincy laying 3.41. I like Cincinnati. Detroit 2.5, 43.5 over Carolina. I like the over. Atlanta, Baltimore. Baltimore 6.5, 35.5. I like Atlanta. Frisco 7, 37.5. I like the under. That's the free play. So the free play is under in the Niner game with New Mexico State. Dallas, Philly. Dallas 5.5, 47.5. I like Philly. Pitt 2.5, 39.5. I like Oakland. Miami 3.5, 49.5. I like the over in this game. Denver 3, 36.5. I like the under in the game. Tampa Bay 8, 39.5. I like Tampa Bay. Arizona's on their third string quarterback, Trace McSorley, who I don't mind. He was good at Penn State. Wasn't bad at Baltimore. But he just hasn't played. He's got to get used to the guys. He'll probably play decently. I think Tampa, though, they showed they played good for a half, but they ran into Joe Burrow, and this week they ran into Trace McSorley. San Diego 4.5, 45.5. I like the game over. Those are our plays. Those are our free picks. www.teaserking.com. You can buy the bowls for 1.25, which would include everything from today to the end, to the playoffs. For $200, you get all the picks through the end of the year. You get this week's pros and pros all the way through the Super Bowl, plus all the college. Again, I'm giving you my assumptions here, but you don't know my locks. You don't know my strong plays, which are critical, because that's how you play. I've been betting with my friend Adam, who we do 2-team teasers. I give him the 2 teams. I get 20%. I think we've cashed every week but 2. And it's just here's the lock. And he puts like 500 on it. And the others, he puts like 200 or 150 or 100. And boom, the lock hits. We're winners. Boom, boom, boom. So it's beautiful way to play it, and it hits all the time. He shows me the picks. So if you want my picks, you got to take my picks. You can't put in your picks. Put in your picks on your own slip. And two, you got to show me the picks. You can't just say, give me the picks, and then you've got to bet it and show me the slip with here's the games, here's the amount, and everything else. If you don't show me that, I'm not going to help you, because then I don't know what I'm going to win or lose. I don't know the line, so I don't know if we won or lose. No, that doesn't slide. I got to see the actual ticket with the amount so I know what to look for. Again, one guy went with his own on the last game, which I didn't like, and we ended up hitting 9 out of 10 for $1,500, and we lost on his pick. And I'm like, dude, if you're gonna go to your pick, then I'm not in on it. Or you go ask me first, and I would not have liked that pick. I would have talked him out of it, because as you can see, I like the whole board. I can easily give you, like, stay away from Tennessee. I'd give you, maybe Philadelphia. Don't play Tennessee, right? Here's Philadelphia to play. So you gotta show me the ticket. Anyway, so that's what we have so far. Again, so tonight's the Jets, Jets. Strong defensive team. They held the Lions to nothing. Lions got a punt return touchdown and a fluke Dave Casper touchdown, or they were getting crushed. That Jets defense is just so strong. Just look out for it. I don't think Jacksonville does anything. And where the mistake everybody gets into is they see Jacksonville against Dallas and against Baltimore, and they get all excited, like, oh, they can finally score. Well, that was at home. Dallas doesn't have a good defense. Well, I thought they did, but they apparently don't. And here you go to the Jets, and it's a whole different flavor at home than on the road. And so you just got to be careful about that. So be careful there. That's why I like the Jets. They played Detroit very strong. They played Buffalo very strong. They beat Buffalo at home. They got a Miami game probably coming up next week. So anyway, you got to keep in mind where the game's at, and the teams, and the type of team, and the matchup, and the strength of the team. Are they offense, defense? Are they overs or under teams? Are they A teams or Z teams? You've got to know all that to make the picks. And that's what I do, but that's what very few people can really, that's the art of what I do, and very few people understand that, or could even try to come up with that, or how did I come up with it? And then, digging into the defense, digging into the detail to figure that out. Bobby, you doing a class tomorrow? I'll try. What's tomorrow, Friday? Last week I lost track of the days. It was Wednesday, and I thought it was Thursday. And my foot was starting to hurt me, and then it really hit on Thursday. I will. There's not much. I went over pros today in the college bowl, so I pretty much nailed it. But we can do a little bit, and then a little economics maybe tomorrow being Friday. Christmas is Sunday, so I'll try to do. Is anybody going to be here if I do a show Saturday morning for the pros? If there's enough, I can do it. I know people will be busy with family and traveling. Sunday, it's Christmas, so I probably won't. I did a little economics, but yeah. I did economics. I just told you in the beginning of the show, and just 10 minutes ago. Plus the beginning of this for economics. But I can try to do some economics if you like tomorrow. And basically, I don't understand. Supposedly the 27th, all the derivatives come due, and it's supposed to make a big difference in the gold and silver price. Now, keep in mind, if gold goes up in Europe, but doesn't go up here, we jump on a plane, we go to Switzerland, I meet my girlfriend in Lisbon, and we go sell it. She's in the Ukraine, and she's got some gold and silver I gave her, but she's smart. She's holding it, and if she needs it, she'll be the queen of the Ukraine, because she'll be the only one with a lot of money. So I'm curious what'll happen. See, once they get gold off the U.S., where it's priced in each currency, that's when it'll really go through the roof. Right now, it's priced in the COMEX U.S. currency, so it's still 1,800 everywhere, which I don't understand why, but it shows you the power of the U.S. and how they don't want that to go away. So what you're dealing with is a very powerful U.S. government run by J.P. Morgan and Soros and the Rockefellers, who I assume they have a lot of gold and silver. So I don't really know, since he's got the monopoly on printing money, why he doesn't want gold and silver to go up. But they want the dollar to be the monopoly. They don't want competition. But that's the beauty of what the Russians and Chinese and Indians are doing. They're competing. Our dollar is backed by gold. And of course, everybody would prefer that. So that's really where the competition's going now. So once they break the U.S. from this fantasy of, oh, no, we'll just keep printing money, nothing will happen, and we don't want anybody in gold and silver. And once people realize that and buy their gold and silver, force the price up, and then the Russians, Chinese, Indians, dollar backed by gold, and you're pissing off Saudi Arabia because you want to get out of petro, you want to get out of oil. Wait, that's what we do. That's our whole country. Why do we want to do business with you? We'll sell it to Russia and China. So they made a deal selling their oil to China and taking yuan and gold for it. So we're all done. It's just, we've been caught cheating on our wife, but nobody's like, they're all sorting it out now. So that's really what's going to happen this year in 23. And all we can do is buy it now and not wait. The people that'll be in trouble are the people waiting until the shit hits the fan. See, we're ahead of the shit, right? We're going, oh, we know we need to buy gold and silver and watch our bank accounts and da-da-da-da-da. The people that are going to get hit are the people leaving their money in the bank. Then gold and silver gets caught and they start going up. And then they're like, oh, shit, I got to buy it. Oh, wait, it's 20,000 an ounce. Now what do I do? Those are the people that won't. Is this a question? Bobby, if it goes up in London, I'm on the next flight. I don't know if it'll go up in London, but it'll probably go up in Switzerland and probably in Amsterdam and in Spain and Italy and countries like that. J49, do wheels of Parmesan Reggiano cheese in Italy hold their value? Jesus Christ. I have no fucking clue. If it's an asset, I don't know. But why are you presenting it here? I don't know. I don't know what you. Don't ask questions that interrupt the class, please. Yeah, keep your eye on it. It will more than likely get off of the U.S. dollar and get off of COMEX, and that's our reset, right? The reset's going to be that. It's going to be the dollar going to actual and silver going to actual and everything. Yeah. J49, are you real or what's with the, I don't really have time. My class is too valuable. People are here to learn real stuff. So one of these weird dudes just created a 10th account. Yeah, I guess. Anyway, so that's really what we're keeping an eye on. So I don't know, something December 27th is supposed to happen. We'll see. But all I can say is just be ahead of the curve. If it's good enough for the Joker, it's good enough for us. Be ahead of the curve. Buy your gold. Look, the worst case scenario is nothing happens. You go back to the cold store. You say, here's my ounce of gold that I spent $1,900 on. Give me back my dollar. And he gives you back $1,900. You didn't lose anything. And you just trade your money. Keep in mind, you're not spending your money. You're trading it for money. You're taking fiat paper money and you're saying, give me gold and silver with it. You're trading it. And this is going to go down in value, and the gold and silver are going to go up in value. So don't look at COMEX saying, oh, gold's down, it's shit. No, you're waiting for the reset when it goes up to physical demand, which is huge. Huge. Everybody's buying, all the banks are buying gold and silver. Why? Because they know it's going to go up. It's protection. So if nothing else, it's protection. As I said, your dollar is going to lose value, and there's nothing going to be better than taking an ounce of gold to buy a house or to buy a Ferrari or a Mercedes. There's nothing going to be better in the world. And then you can take your silver and, buy the little stuff. So the silver is the little stuff, your bills, your food and stuff like that. And gold's going to be your house, your boat, your car, anything like that. That's why you'll have gold. So keep that in mind. But as far as I know, I bought 20 more ounces of silver. I'm over 400 now. And I it's funny, I had the 37 Highland Mint ones, and I bought it, I wasn't even going to buy silver. I got 37, and then I got 20. Then I keep hearing and reading and listening and realizing you probably should buy more. And then the price is so low. So that's really what I'm looking for in the reset is when silver hits 2,000 an ounce. And it's not to say I told you so. It's to protect and help you guys. And we'll be a pretty happy group. Silver at, 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, and gold way up there too. So keep that in mind. Get out of the fucking stock market. Get out of the fucking bond market if you're in. Even the U.S. dollar, be careful with. Don't keep too much in the bank account, although I don't think the banks are going to fail. They just saved Credit Suisse in Switzerland. That was failing. They lost all this money, and then they bailed them out. So they'll just keep printing money to bail out these banks until this doesn't have a value. And then more than likely they'll create a new dollar, and it'll be 70 cents on your dollar and stuff like that. So you shouldn't get hurt too badly. But if you're in gold and silver, then it really zooms up. So that's what you got to understand. Just be careful listening to these morons. There's this one guy, he talks. Now, I got a master's in this, and I think I know quite a bit about this economics. He talks. I went on his comment. I says, I don't know what the fuck you're talking, but you're not saying anything that makes any sense. It's all gibberish. You've got to talk to your audience so they understand what you're saying. You're throwing out words that nobody knows. I don't know, and I'm an economist. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. I says, either clean it up or just get off and quit wasting everybody's time. I'm tired of these guys making these comments that don't make any fucking sense. And they're just rumbling on. And you're like, what the fuck are you doing on here? So when I see them, I don't even listen to, I can't delete them. They come through this, they cycle up when they do a new one, but I listen to them for about a minute. It's the same bullshit. He's trying to track 1929. No, he was trying to track World War II to today. Yeah, there's a very good similarity between World War II and today. What are you saying? Well, we had a depression then. Yeah, it was caused by the government printing money, you moron. So they don't even know what they're talking about. They're looking for a comparison, but they can't even, it makes no sense. There's no comparison to today. It's huge debt and huge inflation, which is destroying the economy, destroying the dollar. The only way out is to let gold run up, and then they'll get rid of the debt with the gold. Because the U.S. doesn't have any gold, they're fucked. This is why we're looking to live in Portugal or Costa Rica or Texas or somewhere safe, where we can convert our gold into good money and live a good life. So anyway, that's what's happening. www.teaserking.com. Questions, comments, please ask. Stay on a little bit longer. Not bad, 2 hours. My foot feels okay. I think I'm off to the pool. I got to eat something. I'm off to the pool. I got to call and find out when my Chinese is open. They usually are closed Sunday. Saturday's Christmas Eve, so I don't want to go there Saturday and they're closed. I think I'm going to have Chinese for Christmas. I don't know. I've had so much meat. I'm trying to stay away from meat because of my foot for just a little bit. And I'm going to cook chicken anyway, but I'll do that probably tomorrow. So I think I'll get chicken from Chinese. Oh, you're going, yeah, well, you got to get yourself a Christmas present. Who's going to do it? So I showed Jana. Her name is spelled Jenna, but she says, my name is Jana. So I keep showing. So I show her, here's our Christmas present. I show her the ounce of gold, saying, I got it, but I can't give it to you till we meet. So she's excited for our next meet. I'm excited for it too, but I got to wait for things to settle down and see what's going on. Once gold goes through the roof, I'll probably spend a month in Europe or something with her. So anyway, yeah, nothing better. Now, make sure your guy has something. My guy had a ton of Buffalo silver. I don't know where he's getting it from, but the gold, he had 3 gold eagles, the maple leaf, which I bought, the 3 or 4 credit Swiss, and the 3 James Bond sovereigns. So he had gold. And it's all from people selling it. So I don't know what's happening, but people are getting desperate. Maybe they need the money for Christmas. Maybe they're traveling, but they need the money. So people are selling their gold, not realizing they're selling it for 1,800. It's going to be 20, 30,000 soon. And I'd hate to sell it at 1,800 if I could get 20, 30,000 for it, just like the silver. I would never sell an ounce of silver now at $28 or $25 an ounce when it's going to be 1,000 to 2,000 soon. When exactly we can't answer, but soon. So we know soon's coming. So anyway, that's the point of it. So just be careful. The thing I get from most people, I was talking to a guy outside, was, well, it hasn't gone up. It's supposed to go up for years in 2018. And, it just never goes up, so I don't want to buy it. And you're like, yeah, but the BRICS countries are the reason. They want the gold to go up, and the whole thing that's happening now, now I know that's the reset. Gold's going to go up now. That's what's going to happen. So again, why would you sell it now if you don't have to? So that's why I leave enough money to pay your bills and whatever, your vacations, and the rest goes into gold and silver. And again, at $28, it's as much silver as you can eat. I mean, you just buy it, put it away. It's a no-brainer. What are you going to do? It cost me $560. I got the 20-ounce plastic. So I got the plastic containers, Bobby, and so the 20 are in, you screw it tight, and that's fine. The gold, I put in the gold coin holder, which keeps it airtight, and not that matters. You can't destroy gold. It's indestructible. It's a beautiful thing. You can't melt it. You can't freeze it. You can't. There's nothing you can do to gold that will make it not keep form. So even if you were to melt it, it would dry, and then it might not be a coin, but it would be gold, and it would always be gold. So keep that in mind. You don't have to worry about fires or anything. Just be careful with it. Keep it in a safe place. Check on it a lot. But the more we can buy at this price, there's zero risk that it's going down, and there's zero risk that it's not a good investment or good value after the dollar we know is dropping in value. So that's a for sure. These trillion-dollar spending packages by these idiots in Congress can only devalue the dollar more and more and more until it eventually hits zero. That's what's going to happen. So if you hold the dollar, you're going to lose value on it. So if you change it for gold and silver, you have no risk, right? You own it instead, and it can't go down. It can only go up, because if we ignore this COMEX bullshit, we realize it's way, way undervalued because COMEX is keeping it down, and COMEX isn't real supply and demand. So if we understand all those concepts, you don't have anything to do. I almost bought some silver Maple Leafs last week, but he just had some there. Were a bit scratched, so I backed off and got some regular silver coin. Uh, I guess. I mean, depends how bad they're scratched, but again, what you're looking at, Bobby, is an ounce of silver. So does people are people not going to buy it because it's scratched, or they don't care because it's an ounce of silver? So if it's really scratched bad and you have an option, I would take the ones that aren't scratched, I guess. However, if that's all that's left are the scratch ones, I'd be buying the scratch ones because, again, you're buying the ounce of silver. And my guy told me about when I bought the Maple Leaf yesterday, he says, keep in mind the Canadians don't put a lot of other, it's pure gold, it's pure silver. You can take your fingernail and scratch it. And I said, well, that's why I put it in the hard plastic and cover. So yes, the Canadian stuff does scratch because it's made pure. Now, it doesn't matter because the eagle is still an ounce of gold, even though it's mixed with other things. There's an ounce of gold mixed with some copper or brass or whatever else they're putting in it, but it's still, at the end of the day, an ounce of gold. So even though there's more in it, it's still an ounce. And that's all you care about. So if it's a Cougaran, if it's a Maple Leaf, it's a Philharmonic, the British, the Canadian, the US, as long as it's ounce of gold, even though there's other ingredients, that's all you care about. You got the ounce. You're a happy camper because you're about to be rich. And it's funny, that's my retirement. I'll see an ad for life insurance. I just laugh. I go, I have life insurance. I have gold. That's all the life insurance I need. If anything happens to me, the girls get the gold and the silver, and there you go. I just got to get them here so they can get to it. It's locked away nice and safe, but they're not. They're in Europe, so I got to get them here. That's why I give Jana gold and silver, so at least she has some in case something happens. Anyway, that's about it. So good luck on football. Again, I got 4 college locks and 4 pro locks listed. The college are next week. The pros are this week. Just go from there. So if you do buy the $200, email me you bought it and I'll give you a different password because that's just hooked into a monthly versus I'll give you the password for everything. That's about it. So Merry Christmas. Remember the games tonight. You got the college game tonight, Baylor, and you got Houston and Wake tomorrow, and then New Mexico State, I think, is Monday the 26th. And keep in mind that most of these pro games, we got the Jets tonight, are Saturday. There are a few on Sunday, which I don't know why. I don't know why they're Saturday. I assume it's because the NBA thinks that they can control the networks on Christmas Day, and I think it's a huge mistake by the NFL to sit there and give away their Sunday. I mean, they've had Sunday since the 60s. I don't know what they're doing, and I'm really tired of these NFL Network games. I'm not getting fucking NFL Network just to see Pittsburgh play Carolina. You got to be kidding me. So just keep it normal and keep it there. And when I can't watch the game, I just watch the replay on YouTube. Professor, I'll eat tuna out of a can. I'm not a big sushi eater. And when I cook salmon, I cook it. I don't eat it raw. Although I will have like lox, bagel and lox. I put salmon on the bagel to eat it. But I eat a lot less carbs, so I don't have that often. But yeah, I mean, if we went out to a Sunday buffet and they had lox, I would have some. Prefer that over sushi. Not a big sushi. One friend, she likes sushi, but I don't. I never got into it. Although I like the wabasi. That's hot. That does taste good. But all that. Phil, also hate these weird streaming places and NFL Network. They put these games on. Terrible. Yeah, it's funny how they try to make money, but it's do they think everybody's running to Amazon Prime or the NFL Network or any of the Disney Plus to watch the games? First of all, there's too many games on now, and like tonight, and then the Saturdays, and then you got Saturday night probably, and then Sunday, and then Monday night. It's just way too much. I can't watch all of it. When you throw in all the college that's normally on, Thursday night, and then Saturday from noon to midnight, there's just way too much football on. I can't watch full games anymore. I watch a little. Like I check the score. I can never watch a Georgia under game because you're waiting for the fourth quarter for the score to be 20-0 Georgia. And so you can't, it's hard to watch the second quarter, third quarter. You're just like, all right, let's get to the fourth quarter. Okay, it's 20-0. I'm under 55. Okay, perfect. And so a lot of those unders, I can't even watch till the fourth quarter. Bobby, I was looking at my Texas pictures earlier and seen that juicy T-bone steak I ate over there. Now I'm in the mood for medium rare. Well, there you go, Bobby. Go enjoy. Now, do you buy them from like a steakhouse, like Butkus or what is it? Ditka Steakhouse. He sells them online. There's other Omaha steakhouses. Do you buy them from there, or do you just go to the butcher and get them? I just go to the butcher. Yeah, those underbutts make you just pray for a boring ass game. Well, no, it can be exciting. You just pray. What you really want is Georgia to shut them out and win 30-0. That's really what you want, because then it can still be exciting. But at the end, Georgia prevails, like they've done like 20 out of 22 times, and keeps going. I don't know what happened in the LSU game where they scored 60 points on LSU, but I got a feeling they're going to do that against Ohio State, and I'm not taking the game under. Taking Georgia there. But, yeah, they what did I give out the free pick? Frisco, Washington. In the NFL, they're all boring, but I don't see a lot of scoring, and they're so stupid. Points are a premium in the NFL, and they'll get down to the 10-yard line, and it'll be 4th and 1, and 99% of the time they go for it, and 99% of the time they don't make it because they run it up the middle. I saw them run the fullback up the middle. The guy only lost 3 yards. You're just like, okay, first of all, dudes, the defensive line's just waiting for you. Your only hope's play action pass. And I'm noticing that some teams are doing play action passes, and everyone has worked, and the guy's been wide open. Like the Lion game, the guy scores a touchdown on 4th and 1. Dave Casper play, and the guy's wide open. So I'm starting to see that a little bit more. That'll loosen up the defense, but really they're all selling out on the run. It works every time. If I was the old coordinator, that's exactly what I would do. And it would work and I'd get Dave Casper at 65 years old out there. It's funny to watch a game among others who don't bet, and there's a blowout, and I'm the only one enjoying it. Friends tell me, this is not a good game. It's a blowout, but I'd be loving it. I really have a hard time watching football with non-football people. In Vegas at Caesars, I used to watch in the sports book or at the Venetian, and there's the other bettors around, and you can scream and go to the house and touchdown and W, and people appreciate it and are with you. But if you just watch it, with non-football people, you can't really. It's so hard to watch with non-football people. Nobody gets it. They're not understanding the betting part of it. Well, it's like gold and silver. You went to the coin store and you bought silver and they were bored. And it's like they don't get it, but they don't try to get it. That's the problem with people. They don't open their mind and try to learn it. Unfortunately, there's really ever a blowout in the NFL. Well, you don't need a blowout. You just need a dog that scores 14. You get a dog up 14-0. That's all you need. You don't need that. I don't understand how people can watch NFL but not college. College 100 times more fun to watch. Well, especially since most people went to college or like, well, I'm in Michigan, I like Michigan, or I like Michigan State, or I'm in California, I like USC or UCLA. So it really doesn't make any sense at all that they wouldn't uh, like college. I mean, I don't. College is a much better game, and you got much hotter cheerleaders than in the pros. The Lions have cheerleaders that are like they used to be high school kids, and now they make the people pay to be cheerleaders. They don't pay them. This is sport at its finest. This is why the Lions always suck. They don't pay their players. But it's yeah. There's a few teams with hot cheerleaders, but most of them you're not watching the game for the cheerleaders anymore. Bobby, most of my friends like football, but they don't have balls to bet. Well, there you go. You give them a free bet to say, well, pretend you're betting, or let's bet $5. I'll take the other side. Once they bet on the game, then they'll enjoy it, and then they understand it. But if they don't, it's a whole different game betting on it than that. Well, sure, college football is much better. Although these games, I have no interest in like Middle Tennessee, San Diego State. Like, what the fuck's that doing as a bowl game? No, I don't mind the Wake Forest, Missouri game. I didn't mind last week. You had Washington State, Fresno State. Hainer looked really good. Oregon State killing Florida. That was a pretty good bowl game. So I don't mind those. But these Middle Tennessee State, San Diego State, like, really? What's the point of that game? San Diego State didn't win their division. Middle Tennessee State didn't win their division. I mean, it's so stupid. That's why I choose to get tickets to the LSU A&M game over the Cowboys-Giants last month. The college atmosphere is electric. Well, I'm not sure in LSU A&M, but yeah, I mean, that's why you want to go to a Alabama game or LSU Saturday night or a Florida game in the swamp or Georgia at home between the hedges, Michigan, Ohio State. You go to one of those games. But yeah, go to a Michigan game, man. It's fucking awesome. I assume Ohio State's the same. Just the noise and the band and the girls. It's not even. You can feel the electric. I went to like Michigan in the 70s. My brother went to Michigan, and he'd get me student tickets, and I'd go. And the electricity in the place with the band and the crowd was unbelievable. And you're 5 feet off the ground watching the game. It was just unbelievable. You go to a Lions game, and it's boring and drunk, and nobody gives a fuck because the Lions suck. So it's no music. That's the band's really the key. I don't know why the pros don't have bands. Phil, I'm still scared from the Miami Middle Tennessee game. As Miami fan, it made me sick. Rough year. Well, Miami, the coach came in and didn't know what he was doing. They really screwed up Van Dyke for some reason. I don't know. And Van Dyke's a great quarterback, but they're fucking him with this offense. They want to run the ball more. Their defense was better, but I mean, you have Van Dyke, you got to play to Van Dyke, play to your strengths. So yeah, I agree. Miami, their coach sucked. Can hear fans fucking snoring at the Lions. Yeah, it's hard to watch a Lions game. I'll tell you that. I wouldn't. You'd actually have to pay me give me the ticket and pay for my park. Well, I'd park at the MGM Grand. You park there and walk to it. It's probably 5 minutes or so. But yeah, I would never spend 1 cent on a ticket to the game. Phil, Miami got blown off the field in that game for a reminder as a 24-point. Yeah, I remember the game. Yeah, I mean, they're just, they don't know what to do with Van Dyke, basically, right? What are you doing? You got a guy like Van Dyke. You should have a passing offense like everybody else. And then if you want to run a little bit and have defense, sure. But what they did was just horrible. And the coach, Cristobal, what does he do? He did shit at Oregon just because he used to play at Miami. It reminds me of the guy at Michigan, who's the idiot who came in after Rodriguez, and he played for Michigan. He was a bowl guy. He sucked. Now he's back at San Diego State. Bobby, you look around the Lions Stadium, you'll see people either sleeping or on their phones. Or, well, what kills me is the guy in the lion face or hat, or just wearing the. When I see a guy in a Lions jersey, I go to him, look him straight in the eye, and go, well, you must have lost the bet. Like, who would voluntarily wear a Lions jersey, right? I mean, nobody in their right mind would wear a Lions jersey unless you lost the bet. So I tease people I see in Lions stuff like, why the fuck would you wear a Lions stuff? I don't wear Lions, never. Phil, yeah, they screwed. Yeah. Well, now he should transfer. I don't think he is, but he should go to Oklahoma or go to USC. They dominate then, but he should not stay at Miami unless they get a new coach who knows how to run an offense. Bobby, the only guys you'll hear at the Lions game are the ones who are drunk as fuck. Yeah, well, they're all drunk. I mean, and they all get tickets from their work. I don't know anybody that actually buys the ticket. I used to go when I was a kid in the 60s, and we go to Thanksgiving because my mom's friend ran a steel company, and he'd have like 11 tickets, and he'd keep them for Thanksgiving and his family, and then my family and another family, and we would go to the game. But we wouldn't pay for, we wouldn't pay for the ticket, and because the business owned it. But I think that's most of the people there are people that the company gives them tickets or Ford gives them. Like, I laugh at people at Ford. I go, do you realize people interpret Ford with the Lions? And I never will buy a Ford because it's the Lions. And I was talking to a VP in a hot tub. What do you do? Oh, I'm a VP for Ford Motor Company. I go in and the Lions kill you. I'll never buy your car because I associate it with a loser like the Lions. And he says, oh, nobody does. I go, oh, really? Yeah, I think a lot of people do. And believe me, I don't want to be driving around a loser car like Ford. So he got an earful and he didn't believe me, but I'm like, yeah, that's what's happening. Sean, I went to the Clemson BC game in 2007, Matt Ryan's last game. It was so loud the stadium was literally shaking. That was the loudest game up to that point in college history, 130. Well, Clemson's pretty loud, or was the game in BC? I don't know why that game was so loud, unless it was in Clemson. But yeah, I mean, well, Seattle, I don't know what they did, but they're monkeying around, so they got a lot of decibels. And the University of Washington does the same thing. But Michigan, surprisingly, is not that loud because it's sunken in. It's like 200 feet down. So the sound just doesn't go anywhere at Michigan. Ohio State's probably a lot louder, but yeah, we'll see what happens. Yeah, Clemson's pretty loud for some reason. But yeah, I mean that's I don't understand college football or pro football without bands. Like, really? Like, why the fuck don't you want bands? And I'm really tired of it. All this money, like, let's go to Germany with the game. Let's go to London with the game. Let's go to Mexico with the game. What the fuck is that? Like, it's so stupid. And it's just clearly about money. Like, dudes, you'll make more money if you don't do that. And then they want to have all these extra ads. Oh, there's, we're not sure if he was inbounds or out of bounds. Let's have a look, let's see if he was in bounds or not. Now it's a 5-minute commercial. And then you come back, you don't know what the call was. Well, you just see who has the ball and you're, oh, okay, they got the ball. So it must have been that, he was in or not. And the thing that pisses me off is it was clearly the guy caught the ball in his end. Like all these touchdowns, the guy's clearly in. They either mark him at the half-yard line or it's a touchdown. But it takes 5 minutes for a call that, it kills the climax. If you're watching a movie or anything like, or you're with your girlfriend, you don't want to interrupt the climax. You want to keep it going. And this just pisses me off because you got to wait. Oh, they scored, so you're all excited. Okay, I won my bet, and then wait a minute, did he score? Oh, wait, no. Even though his knee didn't hit, well, it looked like his knee might have hit. So we're calling the ball back at the 1 yard line. You're like, what the fuck? The guy called it a touchdown. Why do you have the refs out there? That really aggravates you because you can't get into the emotion of the play where the guy scores, the ref calls it a touchdown, and they're always looking to move it back to the 1 for some reason. I've never seen it. Doesn't matter. The guy can be in by 12 yards. Then he's down at the 1, and we've got to add drama to it. That's the way of adding drama because they take it all away with these replays. It just sucks. Yeah, I laughed my ass out. Go to the Swamp next season. I believe Gators host Tennessee week 3. Even go to the Tennessee game. That should be exciting if they still have Hooker. I heard Green Bay is a good place to watch in September. Probably you don't want to go now. And then I don't know where to go anymore. It used to be Oklahoma or some of these, but now it's becoming so blasé. And I don't even know if I heard UCLA's having financial problems. I don't even know what you do anymore. But I'm sure, didn't everybody want to go to Frankfurt to watch, or Munich to watch the Patriot game? I mean, it's so stupid. Who did they think the people in Munich wanted to go to the football game? I guarantee you they were handed tickets at a grocery store where nobody paid for them. Just like in London, you think they're having a big depression going on. You think they all want to go to the Jacksonville, New York Giant football game? Are you kidding me? So I don't really understand these European games. What are they gaining? They can watch the game here. The only people is like Russia and the Ukraine. When I go there during football season, the game's on at 4 a.m, so you can't watch it. But when I was in Lisbon, it was on at 6 in the evening were the noon games, and then the night game. Well, they were on late. Like the 4 o'clock game was on at 11, so you're probably not going to watch that. But otherwise, if the game was in Lisbon, I wasn't getting a ticket. That would never have happened. Anyway, I think that's about it. I think it's all expats at those foreign games. Yeah, probably expats, military, but they're probably all being given the tickets. The money comes from the TV, I guess, or I guess Munich giving them money to come to the stadium to fill the stadium. I don't where are they getting the money from? Because it's on Fox, let's say. So Fox already paid their contract, right? You're going to have this many games on, so Fox isn't doing anything. So I don't know where they're getting the extra money. I assume from London to bring it. I don't know what it adds to London, what value it adds. Oh, let's go watch American football. I mean, fuck, I don't think so. Anyway, I think that's enough. I think we got our picks. So take the JETS, Jets tonight. We're betting defense, and we do that a lot, and we win a lot because we bet the defense. Again, last week was a huge week, 10-1. The only loser was fucking Baltimore, which pissed me off, but everything else came in. And this week I'm looking to have another big week. Like I said, 4 locks in the pros. And, really would have been maybe a 5th one had but I'm a little worried about the weather in one of them. So I'm just playing it. And then Dallas, Philly would have been a lock over if Hurts played. That hurts. I've been looking forward to that. But I still here's where the back Minshew, you don't lose anything. Like if you're not betting this game because of Minshew and you're getting 5.5, now you're getting 11.5. You're not betting it because of Minshew. You're missing way out because you still have Dak Prescott to keep you in the game. Phil, yeah, agreed, Professor. Probably given away mostly. Thanks for the informed class. You're welcome, Phil. You're welcome, Bobby. Everybody else, you're welcome. Buy your gold and silver. Again, you're exchanging money, fiat for money, we're not sure what's going to happen, but we are probably better off in gold and silver than we are in dollars. And it might not be now. Again, it's the wife knows you're cheating. Well, you're cheating on the wife, and the wife doesn't know, but she's going to find out. Well, you don't know when, but you know it's going to happen because the wife's going to figure it out. And that's what we have with gold and silver. We know it's going to be found out, and we know we're going to realize the inflation. They're going to realize the gold and silver. So we know it's going to happen, but you can't give it a date. So what do? You buy it now while you can, while it's available and cheap, and then you go from there. And then when it goes up, you're fine. Like I'm ready for it. That's all you can do. In the worst case, you have the gold and silver. You need money. You take your gold back to the store. He gives you back. He'll take your money. He'll take the gold in a blink of an eye, and off you go. So at worst case, you just trade it back. At best case, it went from 1,800 to 50,000. That's not even best case. That's a probable case. Or silver at 2,000 an ounce. That's not even best case. That's just probable. But don't you want to be in on it? Then not. Sean, you're welcome. And Bobby, you're welcome. Thank you. Yeah, it's nice to be able to walk and off the couch. I was going stir crazy. I literally just laid on the couch. And the biggest fear I had was when I had to go to the bathroom because I had to get up and then my foot was swollen and I'm slowly limping in great pain to go to the bathroom. And then I would at the same time then brush my teeth and then I'd have something to eat because I was up. And once I was up, it was like, okay, do all this and then lay back on the couch, put your ice pack on, turn on your movies. And that was it. I couldn't even, I went out to the doctor and I went out to get the medicine. That was it. That was, limp to the car. And it was tough to drive. Yesterday was easier to drive. So today, off for Chinese, I think. What's today? Thursday? No, I'll get Chinese tomorrow. And I got to call them if they're open Saturday. I'd rather go Saturday, and I'll get 2 meals. I get General Chow, and then I'll get like Szechuan chicken, and I eat them Saturday and Sunday. So that's Christmas dinner. By the way, one more thing. Baylor tonight, you like them. Baylor tonight, you like them. Come on, Bobby, keep it English here. I told you, let's see, Baylor in the Air Force. I honestly like the over. It's 43.5. Air Force is going to run the ball down their throat. I kind of like Baylor with the 2.5, and I kind of, because it's such a low number, I kind of like over 37.5. So either way, I probably the over, but Air Force runs the ball, but they do score and they have a good defense. So that's what I look for. All right, that's about it. Sean, did doctor give it a steroid? That's what he gave. No, he just gave me the colchicine, but he only gave me 3 pills, not the normal 6 or 10. So it was very tough on me. I took the 3 and it wasn't enough. So I called him up and I got 3 more, which I took one yesterday. I took one today and I can feel the foot better. I'm going to go to the club and soak in a hot tub and just walk around the pool, not do anything. Yesterday, I actually rode the bike. I said, well, if I can do it, I can do it. And I did it for like 10 minutes. I normally do 20. And I was like, no, let's not push it. Not at a fast speed. So I'm going to go do that now. I got to eat and then I will do that. You're welcome, Bobby. That's what I'm here for. Here to educate my family. All right. Enjoy your day. Merry Christmas. I'll probably be on tomorrow, but probably earlier. Christmas Eve is Saturday, so I don't know if I do a show, it'll be just to go over the pros. Because the bowls, there's not much we're doing with them until next week. Thank you, Sean. Yeah, and the part that I don't like about it is, like, they'll say, well, it's beer. I don't drink beer. Oh, it's shellfish. I don't eat shellfish. Then it becomes, well, the red meat. I go, but I eat red meat all the time. I eat hamburgers and steaks and ribs and chicken, and it doesn't bother me. I mean, I went a year and I ate the same thing and it never bothered me. Like, what the fuck? And so I don't know. It just hurts, and there's nothing I can understand about it. Why it flares up sometimes and it doesn't, but it's really not. Like I say, I eat the same meat all because I'm on the non carb diet kind of where I eat a lot of protein. So I eat the meat, the steak, the ribs, the chicken, and that's what I normally eat and never bothers me. So I'm really confused. But anyway, the ice pack works, but the pills really get it going, get it out. And so I feel better, today. I'm going to take one more pill tomorrow, and hopefully that cleans it out, and I'll be fine. Anyway, Merry Christmas Sunday. I'll probably see you tomorrow and Saturday anyway. But I want everybody to be healthy, be happy, enjoy your family, enjoy the football, and just for presents, buy gold and silver. You'll be surprised how people like gold and silver, or at least it'll educate them. Whenever I give somebody silver, they're always very happy to get it. And I keep saying, I know it's 25 now, but it's going to go to 1,000. Just keep that. Just wait for it. And I've never had anybody I'd given gold or silver to that didn't like it, that didn't want it, that wasn't happy to get it. Even my Ukrainian girlfriend, she gets gold and silver. Her eyes light up. She's so happy, and she knows what it is. I mean, she knows it's good, and we still get perfume and take her out for clothes, but the gold and silver really really hits home for her. So if you ever want the girlfriend to know you love her, just you give them that, and they go, okay, he loves me. He got me gold. He loves me. All right, everybody, have a great weekend, and I'll probably be on tomorrow. My foot feels better, so it's off to the hot tub, and I'm going to eat, and we'll go from there. All right. Again, buy your gold and silver. I don't know what December 27th is, but if you can buy it before then, and we'll see what happens. But we know the U.S. dollar is in big trouble any way we slice it. All right, everybody. Thank you very much. Have a great day. Happy holiday, and look forward to talking to you guys tomorrow and or Saturday.